Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, July 5th. Welcome to Hoop Spaces. I hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. I know I did. Waiting for that tweet, you know, that tweet that says Kevin Durant has been traded or Kyrie Irving has been traded. That's what we're all waiting for, apparently. But we do have some news. Gorgie dang to the Spurs, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Gorgie Dane to the Spurs, and not to be outdone, TJ Warren to the Brooklyn Nets. That's how we start off this morning on Hoop Spaces. Thank you for giving us any of your time. It's valuable. We understand that, and we're appreciative. Thank you. We have a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. Summer League started with the California Classic. Keegan Murray looking really good in one game, looking really bad in another. But that is the joys of Summer League. So we have that to talk about. The Mercury meltdown out in Phoenix. They fall to the Los Angeles Sparks, who have zero chemistry, and a coach who isn't going to be coaching there. Still trying to figure out what's going on in Phoenix. It has to be a little bit more than just Brittney Griner, who has penned a handwritten letter to President Biden after her trial has started in Russia. We'll have an update hopefully this week from the State Department. So we'll pay attention to that. Couple of group chats. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to go ahead and say what that question is now because it's crazy. We have somebody who says Kobe Bryant was a better shooter than Michael Jordan. We're going to discuss that. All right. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. I'm going to get the tweet out there for the show card and a couple others. Thank you. Good morning. Be back in a moment. All right. Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to your Tuesday edition of Hoop Spaces. 808s and Snack Breaks is already up here. 808, say good morning and congratulations on the big news with the big three. That's dope.
Oh, appreciate that, Chris. Appreciate it. Keep it a buck. Like I tell you in the text, I wouldn't be here, at least, in this field, doing what I love without Hoop Spaces. So shout out to you. Shout out to the network that we've all been helping build. And, I can't wait to see what else comes in the future for everybody.
Yeah, same, man. And if y'all don't know, go ahead and shoot 808s a follow. I'm sure you'll see that tweet I'm speaking of, which he should put it up here in the Jumbotron. Also up top, if you like basketball, like join the community. There's already 200 plus people in there. If you don't know what communities is, it's really just a separate timeline. If you follow the show and you follow the content creators, eventually once Twitter starts rolling out, more functions with communities, there'll be stuff there. Currently, right now, I'm not gonna lie, it's really just like a group chat with the interface of a timeline. So it's kind of wonky. But if you haven't, checked it out yet in terms of communities for Twitter, check that out and also get the YouTube link out there. I want to give a shout out to the people down below. Let's see. Papi Chulo's in the building, of course. Shout out to Jeff Quinn, Nate, Afisha. Hey, she's in the building, the founder of GameFlow, the pickup card game, which you can find at slamgoods.com on his personal account. I love that. Maybe a lot of y'all should shoot him a follow. Real quick, I want to get a quick story in here about the 4th of July. I don't do fireworks personally. As a combat vet, brings up some anxiety. But my son, this was the first year that my son looked at me and said, "Fireworks are overrated." I'm gonna go ahead and apologize to all of you because your future selves, when you're 55 and 60, are going to have to submit to my son's will as he becomes the president of the United States and decides to outlaw fireworks. Now, why? Because we have all these people who are, shooting fireworks by themselves, and we're in the middle of a drought, and we've had 4 fires, go off here around us, and he understands now that with climate change and dry temperatures, incendiary conditions exist. That's how he put it. So hopefully you didn't start any fires, and hopefully you weren't like the Florida man who blew off his hand. Anyway, got some basketball to get to. We have the Summer League 808s. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good, Chris. Not gonna lie, I didn't do much of anything. I don't think I left the house more than twice, but in my book, that's a good weekend.
Well, did you get that one-on-one in with Damo?
So you see, I actually hit up Damo and Evan in the group chat. We were supposed to hoop this weekend. I'm not sure what happened. I think it was the heat, so to speak. But I see Jose posted a pic of him hooping the other day. Talk about it's not my ball, and I didn't get an invite, but it's cool. It's cool.
Oh, wow. Calling out Jose. I see how it is. Jose, you got to get 808s an invite. You got to feel the weight of that hand on your forearm as he hacks you to death.
Wow.
What? Like, I mean, you saying nothing easy. Like, what am I supposed to expect? Just saying.
Listen, man, nothing easy simply just means that defense will be played. There's no easy buckets over here,
Yeah. All right. I think we have a different definition of defense.
Now, look, you put Vince Wilfork on a basketball court, you got me.
Oh, geez. Okay. That makes sense. Chi, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, 808s. That's saying a lot right there about Vince Wilfork from the basketball court. The 808s. That's a load to handle on the paint, man. So I do want to see footage of you and Damo playing basketball. I can't wait for that. And also, I'll bring my basketball sneakers to Chicago so we can play in the All-Star game, man, possibly.
Like, have you seen Vince Wilfork play? He actually can hoop.
No, he can actually hoop. I'm just glad I'm not 340 pounds.
I'm gonna get a video for y'all, okay? Like, some people are laughing. Like, y'all don't know. He can hoop. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now. We got Hawks Fan TV up here as well. Hawks Fan TV, good morning. Congratulations. Like, you weren't here the day after, but for 4 minutes. But hey, you're having a great off season. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning to you, and good morning to everyone else, to the fans of a team that employed Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. It's a great day. Happy 4th, everyone. Hope y'all stayed safe. And yeah, I'm excited for this rest of this offseason to continue, to see what KD does, and to see what my Hawks do, man.
All right, that's what's up.
You know what's crazy, Chris? He may be excited, but no one is excited for him. I can tell you that much. Like, did you hear that? That employs Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. Like, that just sounds disgusting, and the season didn't even start yet, man. Like, I'm not looking forward to this.
Best backcourt duo in the NBA.
See, you hear that? They didn't play one game together. He was the best backcourt.
I mean, somebody asked me, I think it was Alex, my thoughts, and I think they could be a top 3 backcourt in the league.
Oh, I got them top 5, easy. Like, that's just even without playing the game. But I mean, like I said in the DMs, you finally got Trae, a guard that can, he could play off ball. A pass first point guard, you got him. I mean, that's gonna be nasty in late game scenarios. Trae coming off a pick and boom's 3.
It's gonna be sick, and if DeAndre Hunter is healthy, that's a team to be reckoned with. Alex, what are you hearing about John Collins, man?
There's still chatter that he might be on the move, but it's looking more and more less likely now as all these moves are made. I still think John Collins does get dealt before the end of the offseason, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed. So we'll see what happens. I'm in the camp, Chris, that I think JC is a very serviceable forward. Like, if we kept him and we rolled with him going to next season, I'm perfectly fine with it. However, if we can package him up, get a piece or two that's going to make our team better and upgrade in other spots, or if we get draft capital back, because as you guys know, we sent 3 draft picks first-round picks to the Spurs, then that's also a win-win too. A potential trade like, John Collins, he's been linked to the Wizards. I would even do, a Kyle Kuzma and Dany D and a first-round pick for John Collins. So I'd be a fan of that move.
Wow, you think Wizards are going to give that much up for John Collins?
It would be Kuzma and a first-round pick, or Kyle Kuzma and Dany D. Either scenario, I would still make that. I would make that move.
But you're not hearing me. You think they would actually give you that? Is what I'm asking. Like,
absolutely.
Okay, like they would give you that despite having Kristaps, who's not going to be playing center, he'll play power forward.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they gonna? Where they gonna put Collins? Like they're starting Gafford at center. They got KP at power forward. They're gonna pay Collins more money to come off the bench than they're paying Kyle Kuzma or Dany.
If they made that move for JC, they would find a way for him to start, and Gafford would most likely be coming off the bench.
All right, there you go. There's the video.
You really can let him get off like that, Chris?
Hey, I mean, he's a purveyor of propaganda. I'm not over here other than saying that don't make sense to me. Like, hey,
listen, man. When Lonzo plays more than 60 games, I really can't wait for you to not stop the propaganda train.
Vince Wilfork would give you buckets is up there. If you like us here on Twitter, follow us and subscribe on YouTube just in case you miss it. The shows will be there, powered by audiolabs.io. Got a phone call with them this week to get the rest of Hoop Spaces, or at least as many as possible, up there so we can get more YouTube digital content through them. All right. Hey, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to come on up, request the mic, but you got to do a couple things to get up on stage. You have to like and retweet the show card and shoot the people up top a follow. That's just common courtesy. I want to give some morning shout outs. I see Protein P in the building. I see Reese Rebel in the building. Nightingale's here. Breeze, Kevin, Mikey Kabrinsky, Eddie. What's up, everybody? All right, let's get to it. Last night, we'll go WNBA first. We had a game. It was the Phoenix Mercury and the LA Sparks, and the Mercury are in the middle of what has to be described as a meltdown. They have one of their players just going at the coach on Twitter, clowning it. We got another player who's yelling at a player that's not even playing. We had a player that just decided to say, yo, you know what? It ain't working. Let me get a divorce. And we have a player who swears they should be in the All-Star game because I guess names mean something. So that's your Phoenix Mercury. They lose to the LA Sparks, who, after Derek Fisher left, they still look like they have no chemistry, but somehow, some way, they beat Phoenix, who's supposed to be going into the season a title contender. 808s, what do you have for this? And then you also have the Chicago Sky from earlier in the weekend. And if you guys want to talk W down below, now's the time to go ahead and raise your hand and come on up. Go ahead, 808s, what you got?
Listen, Chris, coming into this season, I was told that the Las Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury, not the Aces, the Phoenix Mercury, that is, they were supposed to be one of the teams that were supposed to be playing the Sky in the Western Conference Finals last year. That was one of the teams that was supposed to be playing the Sky in the finals in general. That happened. You look at this season, and listen, I understand Brittney Griner is overseas right now being held against her will. That needs to be talked about every single day until she's actually back home. But if we're talking strictly basketball and not anything other than that, this team still had the talent to compete coming to the season without Brittney Griner. They had Tina Charles, you had DT, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Breonna Turner. Like, that team had decent pieces to compete. And you turn around and you look at the schedule, and I mean, they're 9-14. They won 3, you lose 3, you win 2. I mean, you lose 2. Probably about to lose a third because, I mean, New York is rolling right now. But I really don't know what to say about that team, man. After they played the Sky, I think Deanna Taurasi had 2 points. It was like 1 for 6, didn't score in the first half. She responded with a 4 for 14 game. I think she had 13 points. But the entire game, it was really just Skylar Diggins-Smith and pretty much Sophie Cunningham trying to keep them in the game, and they did until the necklace was there. You got to realize that she's an MVP candidate. I feel like a lot of people um, look at the Sparks record and the team and see Derek Fisher and all the turmoil and say, well, hey, I don't know how you think that you can put somebody on that list with the team as bad as they are, but honestly, it's really not bad per se. Injuries have just kicked them in the rear. I think they've been missing like 3 or 4 guards right now. Brittney Sykes is in health and safety protocols, and it's just a mess right now. But that was balling. I think in her last game, her last 5 at least, she's averaging like 20 and 7 on like crazy efficiency, like 57, 40, 78, something like that. But other than that, it was a good game, but I had the Sparks winning. I don't know, Lexi Brown and that 3-point shot. It's there. I think she was 4 for 5. She had 14 points. Liz Cambage showed up. Through that second quarter, she was playing bully ball. Free throw after free throw after free throw. I can't remember how many she finished with. I think it was like 5 or 6, something like that. But it was a good game for the most part. I wish it was more than just one last night, to be honest with you, but it was a good game. And as far as tonight, what's the schedule for tonight? I think the Sun played the Wings at home, and the Stormer in Indianapolis playing the 5-17 Fever. So, I got the Fever in that one, actually, surprisingly.
That's something because they're 5-17. Before Chief hops in here, I got a question, and I also want to give the breaking news. 2K, like right before we opened up, 2K showed Michael Jordan on the cover for 2K23. So for those who play, there you go. Before Chief hops in here, because he can answer this question too, do the Phoenix Mercury make the WNBA playoffs? Yes or no?
That's tough, Chris. I don't think so. I do think that the Sparks are playing much better, and I think 808's made an excellent point about Lexi Brown, and Lexi Brown's playing really good basketball. I think she's shooting like 45% from 3 for the season, but the last like few games she's playing big minutes. And I think that's a big reason why the Sparks are winning basketball games. She plays great defense and she knocks down shots. That's what you want from a guard. So um, I do think the Sparks make the playoffs. I don't think the Mercury make the playoffs. That's my opinion.
Do you think the Liberty make the playoffs? Because that's 3 teams that are gonna, and you can throw in the Dallas Wings. That's 4 teams for 2 spots. And even
Yeah. Right now I have Dallas and the Sparks making the playoffs. I don't think the Liberty have shown me enough quite yet, and that's tough for me to say as a Liberty fan, right? But if I'm being objective here, I think the 2 teams which would make the playoffs would be the Sparks and the Wings.
And if you look above, ladies and gentlemen, we have polls coming out for the W asking the 5 teams for the last 2 spots. The Washington Mystics are the team at 5. They're 13-10. Every other team, including the Dream and the Sparks, have a losing record. So we'll get those polls out there. First one up, do the Mercury. Second one up, Liberty. I'll get one up for the Dream, Sparks, and Wings. 808s, do you want to hop back in here?
Yeah, honestly, I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't. I know the Wings have been, a little inconsistent this season, but I just don't see the dumpster fire in Phoenix making it. I don't. You relying on DT to give you impactful minutes, and honestly, I think those LeBrons are weighing her down. Maybe she's change shoes. Maybe that'll help. I don't know, but they got to fix something over there. But as far as LA, we just talked about Lexi Brown. I looked it up. During her last 5 games, she's taken 6 attempts from behind the line, and she's netting 60% of them through her last 5. 60. This is crazy.
That's insane. All right.
And her defense has been great there, Rich. I think that's the part which is underlooked about her game. She's playing some great defense, and I remember Lexi playing at Duke. And at Duke, she was really, I think, one of the best players in college basketball at Duke, who kind of got overlooked a bit. But I think she has that basketball pedigree, right? Her dad is D. Brown, who played for the Celtics, so I think she understands how to work within the team system, but also when she needs to kind of stand out and be a baller, she does that, man. She can do so much more for that team if they give her a bit more of a longer leash.
Man, I'm telling you, like I think the last 5 she's averaging like 2 steals as well. So she's hawking the ball. I mean, I've seen her last night in transition, just nasty, man.
Sorry, guys, my son came in here. Just a second. If you don't feel like you gave enough, go finish up. Give yourself.
Question for my WNBA aficionados: have we ever seen a rookie as good as Ryan Howard?
Candace
Parker. 2008, Candace Parker, man. She won MVP and Rookie of the Year the same season. Only time this happened.
I don't know.
was her in
Something tells me Ryan Howard's going to be better than Candace Parker.
I don't
Chris,
know about
kick him
that
now.
one, man.
Kick
Yeah,
him
I
now.
don't know about that one, man. Come on,
Now.
bro. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Like my son came in. He had an issue with his writing.
I'm glad you didn't hear that then.
Yeah. No, I had my headphones off. He doesn't want to do his schoolwork, and you know what it is. All 5 polls are up there, and my guess is Alex said something in regards to the Atlanta Dream, because it's always Alex's fault. So my guess is he asked about Ryan Howard versus Kelsey Plum or somebody.
Oh no, he's one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, Candace Parker. He said Ryan's gonna be better than her.
It's 7. It's too early. I'm sorry. Hello. I would like an apology.
Good morning, Robin. How you doing?
Look,
early.
I grew up watching
I can't wake
Maya
up to
Moore
someone
in
saying
person.
that
Ryan Howard will be better.
No, stop it. Get some help.
Don't sleep on Ryan Howard. She's gonna be the first WNBA player to win MVP.
No one's sleeping on her, man.
Candace Parker already did
she
that.
was the first overall pick.
Candace Parker did.
The WNBA is not ready for Hawks Fan TV. I am telling y'all now. You got. Oh God, this is gonna be bad.
The only better player I've ever seen than Ryan Howard is Angel McCoughtry her rookie year.
Angel couldn't even win Rookie of the Year and MVP, which Candace did, sir. Okay, stop it.
Ryan Howard better. Ryan Howard better.
You see what happens?
Stop this. Ryan Howard is great and can be great, and I'm not speaking on what she can do because it's her first year. But stop it. Stop it.
Please, like at least wait until they have coffee, Alex. Okay. But I'm here for that conversation later.
It's just crazy that, while we talk about Candace Parker, on the eve of her 15th season, she told, I think it was Kristen Ledlow from NBA TV, whatever it is, that she was considering retirement. And I don't know. You think about the way she's been playing lately, and I don't know. It's just kind of crazy that she would say that, considering, I think she was she's the first player in WNBA history to have 6,000 plus, 3,000 rebounds, and 1,500 assists. I think she had 25, 11, and 7 in that last game against the Sun. I don't know. She's averaging 16, 10 rebounds, 6 assists on a blistering 64% true shooting in her last 5 games. She's buried 52% of her twos and 39% of her threes. At 36 years old, this is what she's doing.
She's been very efficient this year. This is probably some of her best. I mean, she's had great basketball seasons, but I agree with 808. This is some of the best basketball that we've seen her play in a while. She's refreshed. She's motivated, especially coming to that championship. She seems so much happier and balanced since she left LA. I know 808 is surprised I'm saying all these things, but I'm being real. I mean, she played at Tennessee, so I got love for Candace, obviously. But yeah, this is the balanced and happiest I've seen her be in a long time. It is what it is. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Danny. And the tweet is up, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Howard will be better than Candace Parker. Hawks Fan TV quote of the day. Because that right, I'm tearing up. I was drinking water when you guys told me. So wow.
Not gonna lie, I kind of missed the propaganda, just a little bit.
It's great. I keep telling people.
You coming around 808s.
All right. Now that we have this whole idea of Ryan Howard not being better than Candace Parker because she isn't yet, and if she is, then she'd probably be the greatest guard to ever play in the WNBA, not named Cynthia Cooper. What do we think of the Atlanta Dream? Their prospects of making the playoffs. They actually hold one of the playoff seats. They're 10-11 currently, but they're trending downward. Right? They are 3-7 in their last 10. Are the Atlanta Dream going to be able to turn it around and carry some much needed momentum after the All-Star break to try to keep a playoff spot, or do we think that that trade, that crazy trade that brought Ryan Howard to Atlanta? It just cost the depth, and they're actually where they're supposed to be, regressing toward the mean. Anybody?
I mean, to be honest, it's not like it's really translated to wins per se, but I really wish they would just go back to playing through Cheyenne Parker. I think she had like 4 straight games where it's just 8 points, and then she had 21 the other day against Seattle, which, I think she shot like 52% from the field in that game. And then before that, I think she had like a 20-point game, a 16-point game, a 15-point game. And like, I don't know. I just feel like they just kind of like don't look at her when she's on the floor, or it's just Ryan ball, and it's like there's nobody else on the court.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you of another Atlanta team from a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, Michael Cooper's finest.
All right. We also have the Dallas Wings, which you were able to catch a couple of games. They are also 3-7 in the last 10. Do we have any belief that they will be able to steady the ship? Are they going to be, wayward souls and get usurped by the New York Liberty?
Well, as long as the shot chucker is still employed by the Wings, I don't know. I mean, do I think that they could have a fighting chance to make it? I do. Do I think they're going to actually do anything about it? Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, Chris, Vicki Johnson in her last days there. I can say that confidently. I don't think she'll be the coach next season. It's just been too much this season that's not been basketball related. They're 9-12. Like you said, they lost their last 3. You look at the Sparks, and I think they're like a game ahead as far as like overall. But honestly, I look this hand as now. Didn't expect that. I would have had them a little bit higher, but it's been ugly. Right, Robyn, what you think?
Yeah, I was going to ask Robyn why she thinks the Sparks are going to win it all.
Because I'm delusional. Let me live in my delusions.
Damn.
The Sky did it last year. We can go 500 and win it all. Okay, we could do it. It's been done. The Wings are a mess, and I think that once you get to the point where your player is publicly calling out your coach on Twitter, that's the end of that. Like, it's a failed experiment. They have so much talent that I hate to say that like they can't turn it around. But it just feels like the problems with the Wings are way outside of off the court, and that kind of stuff just like
it stays with you.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. They're not up on their coach. She is not leading that team.
You know what I find funny, Robyn? It's like Rick Carlisle all over again, but instead of being for the Mavs, it's for the Wings. It's like they just all collectively said, we're kind of done with you, but they don't say it out loud.
Yeah, I get that sense too. Like I really think that VJ lost that team and possibly lost it early. I think her comments, Arika shouldn't have been kicking the ball, and it was 2 games in a row, which that was kind of crazy. But I think that I feel like that was kind of a turning point, like to so publicly kind of go after her when everyone could tell that play was a lapse in judgment, and it was dumb, but it wasn't like, as a coach, you could have just said like that was a lapse in judgment and we need to do better or something like that. But like the way that she went after Arika. Like, I just think that is like, if you can pinpoint a moment, that's the moment, and it's not looked good since.
I want to give a quick question to you, and then I want to welcome Maliika up here as well of the Rewind and Hoopstresses. Kristi Tolliver became an assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, it might be too early, but someone like Kristi Tolliver might be a great addition to the head coaching ranks in the WNBA. If the Wings lose their coach, right? If Vicky is, steps down or is fired, what do we think? Who should come in to replace the Wings? Are we going to see an exodus of top female assistant coaches in the NBA become head coaches in the WNBA, or do we see them picking former players, which is what they were doing up until this point?
Go ahead, guys.
Well, Kristi still plays for the Sparks. I mean, I think that she's probably 1 to 2 years before she hangs it up. I'm not one to like block someone's bag, and I feel like it depends on the right spot, right? Like Becky Hammon, I think, left the NBA because of the role in the Aces and also that paycheck. But I don't think that I don't know of any other owners besides maybe the Size in New York who are going to want to compete financially with some of the league. And I also don't know what the standard pay is for assistant coaches in the NBA, but I want to see us just get to a point in which it's not so much about just name recognition or former players, and like they actually do like a really good. This is what I want for the Sparks too. Like they do like a real search, have a real like ideology for where they want the team to go, and then go and look for a coach that fits that, as opposed to, oh, it's a former player. And like sometimes that's important, right? Sometimes like being coached by Derek Fisher sells more tickets than being coached by someone who knows what they're doing. It's a business, so I'm not going to try to speak on the business side of those things, but
I get it.
I don't know. I think it would depend on what a team like the Wings are going to offer versus what they get on the NBA side.
All right. Maliika, good morning. Thanks for popping in. We opened up with some W talk. We got 5 questions for you, all right? And they all deal with the playoffs. Will the Sparks make it? Will the Wings make it? Will the Dream make it? The Liberty make it? And the Phoenix Mercury, which nobody thinks they're going to make it. But really right now, with the Wings struggling 3-7 their last 10, the question is Vicky going to be gone? And who would you want to see if she is take over for the Wings? And what do you think about your Liberty?
Come on, Chris.
I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted. And 808s is so quick with the damn horns. But I don't think the Wings make it. And the Wings is always a question. I feel like the Wings have the talent there, but like they need the right coach to get them together. I mean, you got Alicia Gray, you got Enrique, you got Satu. Like, what is the problem? Like, with the Wings, it's like, they need the right coach to unlock. So they need a real search. Like, conduct a real search and have these coaches come with some plans of what they would do with these players. Like something like they have talent there. They have young talent there that can really take them someplace, but they just can't get it together. So the Wings will always be a question mark. The Sparks, I think the Sparks also have a lot of talent. I think that, like Cam Page, like if she can, get some consistency and just be more productive, like just make an impact. I feel like sometimes they're watching her and it's like, what is she doing? Like, what, you know what I mean? Why, like, does she realize what her position is? Like, I feel like she gets confused. Like, she's the center, but does she realize she's the center? So with LA, I think it's possible I mean, Nneka's going to do her thing. Brittney Sykes is going to play defense, and you have Lexi hitting those threes. But I feel like Liz Cambage needs to settle into her role. And, I mean, Robyn can speak more to the angst with Liz Cambage. I do think it's possible in the bottom half of the playoff teams. But hey, if the Sparks can make it, so can the Liberty. We're only one game apart. We're missing the highest score. You can laugh, but you guys only won one more game than us. So it's not like you guys are, up there somewhere. You think they're gonna win the championship, Robyn? I mean, how delusional are we? I don't think we're gonna win the championship. I
Ooh,
think that it's
spice.
possible. I think it's possible we'll make the playoffs. I mean, remember we have Benija out, and she's our top scorer. I love what MJ it brings to the team, and if Becky can stay in, you know what I mean. She's been injured and like she just been having a rough go of it. She could stay in. I mean, I like what Sabrina gives us. I think it's possible. I don't see us winning and going far this season. I see us making the playoffs. We're making strides. We're a young team. We're making strides. We're getting there. But I don't live in a world where I think we're gonna have a run and we're gonna win a championship. But I do like where my team is going. I do like where my team is going.
All right.
I wasn't laughing at the Liberty making the playoffs. I was laughing at you calling me out about Liz. That was
No,
those
but
were.
Liz, I think if Liz would just, I don't know what it is. Like
No,
she's that
she forgot
missing
how to play
link.
basketball, and she out of shape, and she doesn't want to play where her position is. Like, if she, I mean, I talk about this. I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face. Everything that you said was spot on. I just wanted to I was not laughing about this, even though I would hope the Liberty don't make the playoffs because that's a better chance for the Sparks to make the playoffs. But I was not laughing at the idea that they could. I I think that they've turned the corner in a really great way. So
I
yeah.
got a question for all of y'all before we move on.
All right.
Me personally, I think the issue that at least the biggest issue in Dallas is Enrique and her shot selection. Over the last 3 years, she's either been number one or number two in the entire W in usage rate. And it's not really, you know, transferring into wins. What do you think they should do considering the future?
They need to go inside out and get someone. I mean, I watch Isabel Harris and Athletes Unlimited. I don't understand what they're doing with her. I think that she's got such untapped potential but I do think that they need to be able to move off or at least Erika needs to be able to move off the ball. I think the way that she plays, she sucks defenses to her, and she's great, but that's only going to get you so far. So I just think that if they went inside out more, um, I think that would change a lot of their ills.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, what's good with Charlie Collier, who was the first overall pick a few years ago?
Man, I was literally just going to say that. She
Yeah, I'm
can't
confused,
buy
man.
a minute.
Yeah.
You read my mind. You read my mind. Me and 808, hell is about to freeze over today, y'all, because me and 808 are green on something again. I I can't figure out Dallas for nothing. You are right. Enrique takes too many damn shots. Her shot selection ain't great. They're not utilizing their post players. You got Isabel Harrison, Charlie Collier, and you got McCowan down there. And you're not utilizing them properly. And I'm missing somebody. Sato Sabali. You're not using them girls properly because you got the ball hauler who still thinks she's in the NCAA tournament is able to just shoot whenever she feel like it. I'm just
Dang.
saying what I'm saying. Now, the reason why Vicky let her get away with it because she plays with that dog, and Vicky used to play like that, and that's why Vicky let her get away with that. But she don't play with any control. Liz's problem is the same problem that Bill Lambier was trying to invoke in her in Las Vegas. She don't realize she's a big, and her motor ain't the greatest. I don't know if she really loves the game like she should love the game. It's almost like it's just a job to her, and she knows she can make money off of it, and that's what it is at some point she might just go ahead and just continue DJing and just stop playing if she's not going to come in mentally prepared to play the game. I said it. I'm all for mental health and getting yourself right, but sometimes you up there holding somebody else's spot that somebody else could be there, if you're not going to fully commit. But I feel like Dallas can make it. They just got to get something going. I think the Sparks can make it. They're getting there. I saw some good things last night. Um, it's just frustrating. That's all.
Let me ask this question to close this out, because I think y'all had a great question here. Has Erike's game plateaued?
Honestly, yeah, I think it has. Don't get me wrong, she's a walking 20-5 in her sleep, but the fact that it's not translating to wins or even just good team chemistry, that's a problem. And there's a lot of jokes about Arike and her play style on Twitter, especially WNBA Twitter, but it comes with some truth. And honestly, that's just the way that it is until they figure that out. They've got too many talented players in that roster to not be above 500 and to be competing for a higher seed in the West. That is. That's really all I really got on it, especially just with Arike and Isabel and everybody. But I think Alicia Gray not making All-Star, I think that really played a bigger part, at least with that team that people think. Don't get me wrong. Arike is a great player, but Alicia Gray deserved to be an All-Star.
I mean, I'm asking because in 4 years she's averaged remarkably the same stats.
Yeah.
Like she had one year, 23 points basically, right? That was 1 year. It was cut short by 10 games. But it's 19 to 20, 3, and 1.
What Arike needs, and I don't know if Dallas will ever get her this, but if you really want to take her game to the next level, you have to get the ball out of her hands and get a pass first point guard. That is the only way you go to the next level with her game and you build around her. Take the ball out of her hands, because obviously it's not leading to wins now. It's just not. It reminds me, and I don't like doing this, honestly, like comparing the NBA to WNBA, but this is a perfect scenario, at least in my opinion. It reminds me of Devin Booker in Phoenix the days before Chris Paul came. Great player, great stats, decent passer, but team wasn't going anywhere.
Anybody else?
No, that's spot on, 808s. And I think your point about one, she is a point guard. I think two, the coaching is an issue. We talked about Vicki Johnson, and the failures there. So I don't think she's plateaued. I think she's a great basketball player who just needs to take a look in the mirror. Like, you know what? Like, I'm not winning games. What can I do different? So I think that's where she needs to evolve as a basketball player. Speaking of basketball players, got to give a quick shout out to Maya Moore and her husband, Jonathan Irons. She announced today on Good Morning America that a baby back a few months ago. So congrats to the GOAT. Maya Moore, to me, is the GOAT. I have Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Cynthia Cooper, and this might be a bit biased, but
Tamika Catchings.
You said who?
Tamika Catchings.
Catchings is a good one, but I love Sylvia Fowles, so that's my Mount Rushmore of WNBA basketball. But Maya Moore, man, she's just a phenomenal person. I think we got to talk about her more and her journey. But congrats to her and her husband, Jonathan Irons, on their first child.
Can we talk about how Minnesota ain't moved on because they think she's coming back?
But wait, is she coming back though? Because now we understand we heard from her because she had a baby.
No.
But maybe.
No.
But maybe.
No, that ship
But
is sailed.
possibly.
Robyn,
Well,
you live in a land of delusion.
Listen, let me have my delusions.
Get all
then.
Delta and evacuate now.
Listen, let me have these.
Do you have anything you want to add into the W, Malayia? Are you here for NBA? Which we're getting ready to
yes, I'm here to talk about NBA. I got a couple things to say.
Wait. WNBA.
No, but wait.
Because we're on the
basketball. I'm here to come and talk about basketball. Yes.
On the WNBA.
Oh God! What? As long as my girl Candace winning, that's all that matters. But I won't keep my hand on because I gotta talk.
Okay. Well,
but as long as Candace winning, that's all I care about. At the end of the day,
we want to get Maliika in here, and then we'll transition to the NBA.
Okay. Don't take me down, Chris, because I want to say something.
You just said something.
Don't go there. Okay, I guess it's my time to talk now. Anyways.
We'll go to Maliika next, as we are still currently talking WNBA here on Hoop Spaces. I want to wish everybody a happy Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, per sources. My sources told me that it was Tuesday, and here we are. Maliika, close us out here with some W talk. Also, preview your next rewind in the next Hoopsters space. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, Chi, you threw me off because I'm like, I hear pickup card game, but who is this talking? So you threw me completely off, and I was like, look, I kept, even though it was your profile speaking, I was like, is there another profile speaking? Where's the pickup card game? So good job. Now I know. Now we know it's, now we get a better idea of what you look like and your name. So hello, sir. Also, I think I missed the Mercury section, but Diana Taurasi, maybe it's, maybe we're at that time with her too. You know what I mean? Because she's been looking out of sync and hasn't been looking good these last few games. And, I love Skylar Diggins Smith. I love Skylar Diggins Smith, her career, but she needs somebody else also on the floor. They're really missing BG. I mean, that was a big loss for them. And praise for BG, who wrote that letter and who I just don't even know what to say about. I just love BG, and we need to get her home. And I'm praying for her. But the Mercury, I mean, Skylar could put up some numbers, but she also needs another dominant scorer on her side, and I don't know if Diana has it. In terms of my next space is going to be Thursday. Back to taking my notes, Chris. I took 40 lines of notes for the first episode of They Call Me Magic, but we're going to be talking about They Call Me Magic with Lakers Takes, Edwin, and Who Spaces Ryan. They're both Laker fans, and we went through Winning Time together. So we're going to go through They Call Me Magic, and we're going to discuss that in detail and look at some parallels with Winning Time, because a lot of the first episode and a half was what was in Winning Time. So we're like, okay, a lot of that stuff is parallel. So we're going to talk about that and really get into the nuts and bolts of Magic. So join us this Thursday at 8. Looking forward to that discussion, because Magic is one of my favorite players. So we're going to take a deeper look at him. So join us. And I got some really cool shows coming up. So, check me out. And I'll put the set reminder up in Voltron in a second. Thanks.
All right. If everybody could look up top, there's a whole bunch of polls. If you want to, help us out, vote and participate. If not, don't. But it definitely helps us if you do. Also, the tweet this morning that Shams opened up, I'm telling you, this is Shams trolling. Like, he literally woke up this morning knowing that Gorgie Dang had signed, and he decided to start, with us this morning. So if you could like and retweet this is not the tweet we were waiting for, so we can go ahead and get some more news. 808s closes out with some W talk. Thank you, everybody down below. We're going to go over Summer League and then some free agency action, and then Malayia wants to say something. 808s, go ahead.
Yes. Right now, it's still not determined whether the Commissioner's Cup will be played in Chicago or Las Vegas. But the way it's looking, I think it will be in Chicago, and if that's the case, I will be there. But if we're not going to talk anything Sky related, I think Skylar Diggins Smith really deserves some praise right now. Over the last 5 games, she's averaging like 22, 4, and 3. she's having a pretty down year when it comes to the three, but she leads the entire W when it comes to point guards, just paint touches and points scored in the paint, that is. So, she's doing everything that she can really to keep this team afloat. I guess it turns out this team actually does have an all-star guard, and it's not, the greatest player in WNBA history. That's all I have to say. Appreciate it.
All right. Robyn, you got anything you want to add in?
Just keep in mind that the Sparks winning it all is a possibility. Just think about it for a little bit. Just let it marinate on your soul. And I agree, like, the Mercury really need to move on from Diana. I think it's going to be better for her in the long run too. Stop treating her like she's 20 years old. Like, like, let her be the, like, old head that like old seasoned player that comes off the bench. Stop running plays to win the game with her. I mean, keep doing that when you're playing against the Sparks, but, like, stop drafting up plays for her when she does not have it, has not had it. Like, I just think that, like, the WNBA as a whole, but, like, teams like the Mercury and the Storm, like, they
They're
need to
setting
move
her up
on.
for failure, actually, Robyn. Would you agree with that? They're setting her up for failure. Like that.
They are. They're literally ruining her legacy too. Like, you can't be like the GOAT, and then draft that play for her, get that shot, and, like, new people watching the league are like, GOAT where? GOAT who? Which, I mean, she's never been the GOAT in my eyes, but still, like, you look at Minnesota and, like, how I mean, Sylvia Fowles is a different player. She's not a guard. She's not like throwing up threes and stuff like that, but they've always been, and Cheryl Reeves has kind of been the coach that is going to go with where the team that she has and is going to play up their strengths. Like, even though they are waiting for Maya Moore, who might be back. Okay? Maybe. Let's have some faith. Let's have some optimism. The world is terrible, and we need to find joy where we can. But Minnesota, like, they do not force greatness on their players. They let the game and their players show you by, like, just highlighting what they can do when they can do it. And so, yeah, that's all. Those are my final thoughts. I gotta get some coffee. Also, Ryan Howard is great, but I want reparations for that. I was literally in bed. I was in bed. And I want an apology.
You might want to avoid the Hawks Fan TV segments. It's beautiful work. I love propaganda at its finest, and he does a very damn good job. Chi, you want to hop up here as I tell everybody about Game Flow? That's right. It's @_GameFlow, the handle for the pickup card game, which is the sensation sweeping across the basketball world this summer, coming right off of a sponsored event at the Rucker, the basketball mecca, where it all began in terms of the soul of the game that we love. The pickup card game, you can pick up slamgoods.com. It's $25. You can play it in two different ways. And I'm telling you now, if you have kids and you love ball and they love ball, you will love this game. Chi, what do you got coming out the W, and how was the Rucker?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And Maliika, I apologize for confusing you. I figured it'd be nice to kind of show my face for once and let people know who is behind the brand, because people make brands, not products. So really pumped about the All-Star game this weekend in Chicago. I'm pumped to be out there and meet some people. 808s, let's meet up, man. I'm just pumped to be around basketball fans. WNBA talk real quick. Free Diamond the Shields. Free Diamond the Shields, man. I love her game. I'm a baseball fan. So I know her brother quite well, who plays baseball. I think she is someone who can play a big role for the Phoenix Mercury if she's used correctly. But I don't see this team going deep into the playoffs or making the playoffs. So I wanted to kind of go to a contending team and have a chance to win one more championship after she won last year with the Sky. But yeah, Chris, I have to jump on the call 11 o'clock. But just want to quickly jump on and talk some basketball. This whole LeBron Kyrie talk, it is what it is, man. I'll let y'all talk about that later on. But it's kind of unfair that LeBron always gets his way. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, we will be here if you get off your call and want to come back. I hope it's a good call. Keep spreading the good word. It's I can't tell you. We played it again this weekend. My pops is in town. We're actually going to play with him today. We're going to try to get him on board, and it's going to be hilarious. Maybe we'll take a video because he does not do card games.
For sure. And if people have questions about the game, please reach out to me, man. I know games are sometimes tough the first time you play them. So I am definitely a resource for you. I know all the tricks and secrets. I made the game, so please reach out, and I'll definitely get you going. But Chris, I'll be back, man. Peace.
All right.
This man said, "Take a video." Did y'all hear that? Like, I know I'm not the only one that heard that.
Well, I said take a video. What are we talking about? What am I supposed to say?
Listen, man, before we move on, out of all the free agents that left Chicago last year, I do feel sorry for one of them, and that is Diamond DeShields. It's an unfortunate situation with Brittney Griner, everything that went on over there. No one could have predicted that, and the hellfire that is Phoenix. So shout out to Diamond. Chicago is always willing you back with open arms.
All right. Can't wait for this weekend. We're going to have somebody there reporting live. His name is 808. You should shoot him a follow. Summer League happened, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to that in a moment. If you're ready to talk the NBA, come on up. Raise your hand. We'll bring you up here. I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some content creators. We got Justin Shock in the building, leader of Heat Spaces. Saint from That's Kingdom is here. Rolo and Jose, that's Papi Chulo. They're here from 77 Spaces. They have a great co-host. Her name is Jazz. If you like basketball talk, this is where you need to come and hang out, get some, good viewpoints without having to listen to the same people yell at each other with fake, emotion. And also, if you're up at night, check out some of the other people we got at night. Like Gifted Blade runs the NBA Film Spaces. It's a phenomenal space. He breaks down, film with Derek Stein and a whole bunch of other people that come through the locker room. You'll see Sean with a W up there. And it's just something, as we continue to build, we want to make sure that you guys know where it's at. And in order to do so, we're going to make some changes to the website we have here so that we'll have the content creators all in one place where you can actually see, a schedule like a TV guide. All right, that's all I have. JF is up here with us. Malayia is up here with us. Dany D, Maliika, and 808s. If you want to come on up, raise your hand. Summer League started. And we had the California Classic. And before anybody says, why are the Miami Heat there? It's because the Los Angeles Clippers said, we want no part of the California Summer Classic. They invited the Miami Heat, and they've been there ever since. That's just the way it is. And yes, that's because the Clippers don't want to deal with the Lakers in a business sense outside in the real world. However, I don't really care about that because we had basketball, ladies and gentlemen. And the Summer League is just the greatest place if you are an NBA nerd like myself, because you get to see all the players that you watched in college, come in and come through the Summer League. And I'm not talking about just the drafted players. I'm talking about players who didn't get drafted or were drafted in the second round, didn't make the league. And I followed them, in the Euro leagues or in the NBL out in Australia. And then they still get these runs here to try to make a pro team. And it's to me, a wonderful symbol of determination, tenacity, and then a hunger to chase a dream. And to that effect, we had a lot of people play in the Summer Leagues, the California Classic. Lakers and Heat played first July 2nd. The Lakers won 166. But it is officially Haywood Highsmith season for the Miami Heat, with the lack of moves that Pat Riley has made for the front office so far in the offseason. They have to get better with individual player development, and a lot of eyes are going to be watching Haywood to see if he can grow into a contributor for next year. The Kings beat the Warriors 86-68. Keegan Murray shined in his debut, 26 points and 8 boards. Wee Santos for the Golden State Warriors, 23-6. These games were on Saturday. On Sunday, the Kings beat the Heat. Frankie Ferrari, one of the best names you're going to see in Summer League for the Kings, 11-5-6. Javonte Smart, that's a player that's been through the Summer League rotation for the Heat. The biggest letdown probably so far in the way too early to give a damn. Nikola Jovic, the first-round draft pick of the Heat, struggled in both of his performances to score the basket. But, like I said, way too early. And also Sharif O'Neal, who is Shaq's son, didn't really fare well, but he did show that he was healthy. Lakers 100, Warriors 77. Shout out to Scottie Pippen Jr., 15-8. And ladies and gentlemen, out of those 4 games, Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be in the league. I think, and I see like an understanding at a higher level than amongst his peers. I want to know if those who saw the same game, what they thought. We'll go to 808s first, Maliika second, JFK, Dany D will close with Malayia on this opening segment so we can give her some more time. Shout out to everybody down below. Thanks for popping into Hoop Spaces. 808s, go ahead.
Yeah, is it too late? I mean, not too late. Is it too early to say that he could be like an instant contributor? Because the IQ that I saw, I know it's only one game, but listen, man, I think he could be an instant contributor to that team. Consider how they were bad last year, but I think he could play.
You mean Scotty?
Man.
Yeah, he looked like Ayo. Like when I saw Ayo, like automatically knew he's got a role. Does that
immediately?
Make sense?
It's just that pedigree. I'm telling you. I was watching a lot of his games at Vanderbilt. His savviness with the ball, like he's always looking to get everybody involved. Those are intangibles. You just don't. You can't teach. You have them or you don't.
Yeah, I was extremely impressed in both games. The first game he was 3 for 9, but he came out also with 6 boards, 3 assists. He did have 5 turnovers. He led the starters in plus minus and in scoring. And then in the second game, he really shined in that second game against the Warriors. 4 for 7, 6 for 7 from the line. He could get to the rim at ease. He had 8 assists, 3 steals. He just dominated the opponent. So, yeah, I like it. Anybody else want to hop here and their thoughts on Scottie Pippen Jr.? Then we'll go to Maliika. JF is going to give us a big heat dose here. Maliika, go ahead.
This is Summer League, and it was the first game. I mean, do we want to, give it a little bit more time? I mean, I'm pulling for Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper Jr., and I'm pulling for those two in particular, but I know it's Summer League, so, I'm giving him to preseason. Let's see what he does. The rest of Summer League and preseason is one game, but I do like him, but we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. I just feel he's only one game to be making that kind of prediction.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to come out and be a world beater, but when I'm seeing him, like I can see a defined role for him is what like I'm trying to say.
Well, he'll make a squad. Is basically what you're saying. He'll be on the bench for the Lakers some point this season. He's a two-way, so he will be. But yeah.
Yeah, like the Martin twins, right?
Yeah, but the Lakers, I don't know. Like the Hornets had to put them in. The Lakers won't have to, right? So.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm just happy for him. That's all.
I'm not saying he's gonna come in and be a 6 man of the year candidate. I'm just saying he's gonna come in as a rookie and nobody really expected him to do anything. And I think he's gonna be a really good contributor off the bench.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set the right expectation. That's all. But I agree.
All right. Anybody want to hop in here? Next up, we'll get. Oh shoot, my screen froze for a second. We'll get JFK. JFK. I know you watched both Miami games at least once. I did. I watched the second one twice. I actually like what I see from what Miami is doing in Summer League, and they're not really trying to force feed Jovic. But I also think Jovic didn't really. He went in with like a different expectation, and it kind of got him down. What do you thought?
You watched the same game twice? Summer League? Oh, you down bad, Chris. You down bad.
It was a 4th of July weekend. It was like 93. Like
watch a classic game. I mean, there's so many games you can watch, Chris.
What's that one Jodeci song called Fiending? Yeah, Chris, you fiending, man.
Well, no, like for like classic games for me, it doesn't really work because once I watch it, like because I've watched a couple multiple times, like, oh my God, there's Jordan over Elo, or Reggie Miller. I can't. JF, man, like you're with me, right? Like Summer League is dope.
Chris, yeah, it's dope. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's good to watch my team play again. God dang, we don't have a WNBA team, so Summer League's probably the next best thing for us. With the whole Nikola Jovic situation, you got to understand, yes, they're not trying to use him as much, but a lot of these players like Javonte Smart and Hayward Highsmith, these guys are trying to get a role in the NBA or at least on a starting spot somewhere, a two-way contract somewhere. So it's kind of obvious that they're going to be majority of the minutes, majority of the points. I mean, Nikola Jovic only had 16 minutes second game, but he did have about 6 points. The way he shot the ball looks like it's going to be very hard to contest against him. I kind of like him. He's going to be okay, especially when he starts to get his feet work in against other guys. He's tall enough to go ahead and play that wing, that stretch wing that, I've been hoping for. I don't know what the Lakers had. Lakers looked like they had a whole celebrity team. They did good. I can't even say anything bad about Sharif O'Neal because it's just his presence and his base. His frame might be a little bit bigger than what I actually thought it was going to be. I thought he was going to be a little bit thin on the court, but he looks pretty big out there. Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be that guy. He's going to find a spot on the Lakers. Going to the Kings game, like, again, it's hard to say anything good about the Heat because everybody was in negative, in the plus minus. And the only guy that was in positive, I think it was positive too, was Boye for us, and he played 17 minutes with 1 point. So I'm trying to figure out how he got a plus on that. Other than that, it's looking kind of good for us because, the more that we're exploited to these type of experiences like summer leagues, the California Classic, like I'm happy to see the Heat in there. And to be honest with you, it's kind of disrespectful because I've been pleading to watch some WNBA games on ESPN and ESPN2, but hey, they're starting to show summer league more than they show WNBA, so we gotta try to fix that. And my last thing I gotta say, I just want to give a shout out to me and my partners. We started up a new esports program for South Florida kids. So if anybody's interested, go ahead and follow Crib Coop Gaming. It's on Twitter and Instagram. Looking for 2K players, and we do not necessarily need you to be in South Florida, but if you're interested or want to play some video games competitively, just hit me up. But appreciate it, Chris.
Absolutely. The poll is out. Who's the best performer for the California Classic? Keegan Murray, Wee Santos, Scottie Pippen Jr., or Haywood Highsmith. Those are your choices, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to everybody who watches the Summer League. Like, it's actually good basketball for me. It gets me in the mood for training camp because I'm not gonna lie, training camp is like the barren desert. It really is, guys. Like once they get ready for training camp, there's really nothing coming out unless it's an injury. We got Papi Chulo next. We'll hit up Xavier, and then we'll get Malayia some extra time because she is ready to say something, and then we'll be bringing more people up. Thank you, everybody, for popping in. Happy Tuesday. Papi, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Another beautiful day. Glad to be here once again. What I really liked from the summer league, the 2 days, is Scottie Pippen Jr. Like, I really wanted him to be a Mav. Like, if we were able to get him undrafted, I would have really loved him, like, just being our two-way guy because Scottie Pippen Jr., like, his defense is really good. Like, his on-ball pressure is something that I would have loved to see here just because I don't feel like we have like straight up perimeter defenders. We have like switchable defenders instead of like that on ball, that on dog. Like, I think that was Scottie Pippen Jr. and I just really loved what I've seen from him the entire weekend. And I didn't really get to see O'Neal, but I saw Jovic, and I was kind of like disappointed because like I really wanted to see his skills being utilized a little bit more, a little bit of his passing abilities, his spot up shooting. I wanted to see that highlighted, and I didn't see that enough. And I think with summer league, sometimes we got to remember like it's the point guards and shooting guards who will get highlighted a little bit more than everybody else. So I think that's another reason why Jovic is not really like performing right now, but that might change because I think we have this week and next week, right, Chris, of Summer League?
We've got some more games coming up. These aren't like the traditional summer league. Next series up starts today, actually, I believe. It'll have Warriors, Heat, Kings, Lakers, Grizz, Sixers, Thunder, Jazz today.
Already. So yeah, I mean, I just want to see a little bit more from Jovic. Keegan Murray had a tremendous first game, but that second game he was struggling a bit. But I think he still benefited from the team altogether. I think he was just playing his role and not trying to be the guy in the second game. So I honestly think that pickup for the Kings is gonna work out. But 77 Spaces will be back most likely tomorrow. We're going to talk, hopefully, not about Jalen Brunson anymore because that series, that shit is over with. Like, I'm ready to move on.
Uh, and,
Like,
and like just when you say it, I was about to ask you a Jalen Brunson question. Why you got
well,
to do this, man?
because I want to get ahead of the curve, Chris. You know, we got to be ahead of the game when we
Look
talk
at that.
about and content create.
Somebody has been, listening to his supervisor. I like that. Using buzzwords now.
I mean,
You know
hey,
what I'm gonna ask? Tampering, yes or no? Do you want punishment?
look. I made a tweet about it today. I do not care. Like, and I had said this on the show last week. Like, if the Mavs are gonna like complain about tampering, like they need to do better. They need to get better at it. Like, they need to pursue their guys a little bit harder. Like, also, like the thing with JB, the meetings and shit, all the theatrics, it's a clown show. Like, do I give a fuck if the Knicks get fined? No, I don't care. The Mavs need to get better at it, and like I'm just ready to move on, and that's why I say like I hope tomorrow we can have a space where we don't really talk about JV. We talk about the current team. We talk about JaVale McGee, Shaq in the Fool, and we just go about our business.
Hey Chris, can I just say one thing to Papi Chulo about regarding Nikola Jovic? You got to understand they're really going low mileage on him. I mean, what you're seeing is what you're going to get. He's not going to go ahead and take the ball up the court every time. I mean, you have Javonte Smart and Hayward Highsmith, if anything. And I think what they're trying to look at is Orlando Robinson. He's a center that they picked up off of undrafted free agency. He's looking like he can be a problem. The shot looks like it's there if it can get work done, and his mobility looks pretty good for a big man. So I'm liking what we're doing with the Heat. Even though we getting blown out each game, it's just you got to give it its time in this process.
Planting yurt? Stop that.
But that's exactly
Hey,
what I wanted to highlight when I was speaking about Jovic, because I think there's more to him, but I think this is a point guard and shooting guard like dominant type of time right now because the summer league does a really good job at showing like the ball handlers, the people who are going to get buckets, and that's it. They
Well,
don't really highlight.
it's also easy to highlight them because it's the easiest part of summer league.
Right.
and
Right?
Chris, you said Yurtseven.
Yeah, he's not gonna. Yurt's the future. Oh,
Hey,
hell, Yurt.
No, but
Chris,
whoa, Chris. But if hold on, Chris, we can't really say that right now if Dedmon is starting over him, and it's annoying because Dedmon and Yurtseven is a complete drop off from what we have in Bam.
All
When
right. You see now, like we had your heat talk. We need Poppy to finish up
I
so Xavier
appreciate
can
it.
go. We can let Malayia cook. Yurt's the future. Just get over it. It's okay. Poppy, finish up.
Oh,
yes, sir. Uh, not to take too much time, but shout out to Luca and the Savinia team. Yesterday, well, not yesterday, but Sunday, that Sweden game was intense. It had me on the edge of my seat. The last couple of minutes, how it ended was just crazy. But shout out to Luca and the Savinia team. Can't wait to watch the Eurobasket in August and September.
Hey, Chris, if Jose
Yeah.
won't say it, I'll say it for him. The
What?
Knicks did all of this BS one of the most scandalous free agent chasings I've seen in the most recent history. All of this is to go like maybe 6th seed next season. That's like literally on the high end for them.
Sheesh.
Look,
they re-signed Mitchell Robinson. They still have Julius Randle, and you add another lefty.
That Mitchell Robinson signing, arguably one of the best signings so far this offseason.
I mean, it is, but he's going to play like what, 20 minutes a game, and maybe play 60 games.
Probably 20. He's got an actual point guard this year. All he needs is 5 P&Rs or slips, and he's giving you 8 points.
And you got Julius Randle sitting in the corner 3. That is just disgusting.
Well, I also
I think the 6 seed was too gracious, honestly.
I am not down on the Knicks. Like, I don't know, no games have been played yet, and people are shitting on the Knicks. It's like mid-season form. Xavier, good morning. How you doing, brother?
Good morning, everybody. No, I love the Summer League talk. I love this so much. This is probably my favorite time of the year for the NBA, outside of obviously the playoffs. Yes, I am an NBA nerd all the way through. I do want to give a couple of names that we haven't already said of guys that I thought had really good California classics. That's Keon Ellis, who I think Kings fans are dubbing the next Herb Jones already.
Yeah, that shit is wild.
Yeah, I mean, they played at Alabama together, but I mean, they're already putting together compilation clips of what he did in those 2 games already. Staying with the Kings, Keita was dominant to say the least. He absolutely dominated the glass, showed really good footwork around the rim and good hands. So I hope he makes the roster. And then Jay Huff and Cole Swider for the Lakers. Cole Swider's already starting to get the Austin Reeves treatment from Lakers Twitter. So, I mean, that always seems to bode well. And Jay Huff, once again, just showing why he belongs to be on an NBA roster.
Yeah, no, I love the Jay Huff pickup for the Lakers, especially if he's healthy. A lot of people probably already forgot about him. Real 7-footer. He's got some range and came out of University of Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, he showed his ability to play in college at all 3 levels. And, I mean, that's one of those guys who played 3 to 4 years. And it made sense for him to do so because you see how much developed his game is compared to, like, everybody else on the floor at times.
Yeah, I like what the Lakers are trying to do, and a lot of people don't view it this way. I see it as they understand they have a win now problem, but they're trying their best to create ingenious or creative ways to develop young players. So, keep your eyes there. All right, Malayia, you want some music? I got some music for you. You got the whole time for yourself.
No, I'm good, but thank you, Chris. My WNBA, I'm gonna finish this. Candace is the GOAT. Candace Parker, yes. I wouldn't be watching basketball without her or neither Carmelo. So that's how I started off. Okay, just letting y'all know. So I'm done with WNBA now. Maliika, I'm sorry, your Brooklyn Nets ship is falling like the Titanic right now, girl. We're going to pray for y'all. I'm sorry that Jay and his Heat is right there with the Gats right there for you. I'm sorry if any Phoenix Suns out there with the Gats, but girl, y'all did it to yourselves, I don't really care for Kyrie, you can send him to La La Land, girl. Get Westbrook back. You're gonna get Westbrook back. But you can send KD, over to Warriorville, you can send them, somewhere else, I don't care, sorry for not sorry. But yeah, that's sad. We're gonna pray for your Brooklyn Nets, girl, because they ship going down in the DM. But what else I gotta say? Yeah. So yeah, the guy, the Magic Johnson guy, he sent a couple weeks ago, he gave his, let me tell you, because I was talking about Steph Curry being the Shawn Michaels and Trae Young, being Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. So Magic's Dolph Ziggler, Magic is Shawn Michaels, but his Dolph Ziggler, light skinned, good hair, little bit tattoos like 2K. Yeah, LaMelo. Yeah, he started Magic started his little crypto thing with this football league, little crypto football metaverse league. Yeah, he gave his little Dolph Ziggler, LaMelo Ball. He went to 2K, Magic went to 2K like Steph did with Trae, went to 2K, maybe gave him good hairdo, bootleg, making bootleg. Yeah. But Magic put LaMelo, he went to the tattoo shop and get the, tattoos on. Yeah, so he gave him a crypto thing. Just wanted to say that you can put that on your next space, But anyways, go Warriors, go. Candace is the greatest of all time. Candace Parker, that's my girl. I'm gonna, ride, die, but go Sparks. Yeah, and I'm sorry your Brooklyn Nets are going down the DM, girl. It's okay.
Malayia, how long you been a Warriors
I'll
fan?
live.
Like 3 years?
I don't.
4 years?
It's not that. It's not that. I mean, it'll be okay. We'll have a team on the floor. I've been a Nets fan for decades. This is not going to change my fandom. I mean, I love the front of the jersey. I'm good. I'm always going to be a KD fan no matter where he is. And life goes on. I mean, I wake up tomorrow and the next day. It's not that deep. But
It's
thank you,
okay.
girl. Thank
I
you
was
for
just
your well
playing.
wishes. It's all
I
good.
was just playing, but
No,
don't
I
take
feel
nothing
you.
serious.
I feel you. I
Nothing
just wanted
serious.
to. No. I feel you. I was just letting everybody know that fandom is one thing, but I'll live. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of Nets fan. I'm used to misery, so it's
Girl, but
this
this
is
what
just
y'all need to do,
another.
though.
This is
This
just
what y'all
another
need to
one
do.
in the decades long fandom. It's all
And
good.
the
You got
thing,
the
We'll come
Charlotte
girl,
back
Hornets to
again.
get
look
all
forward to
those
that.
picks. Get all those picks back, girl. You fight for all those picks.
Yep,
This is why
KD will sit
if I was
until we
you,
get a package.
Oh man.
KD
I'm
will
like,
sit
I want only
until we get a
lottery
package.
picks, girl. Bring back, you need to go call and get Tyler Hero back. Get Tyler Hero. Get all those jokers from Phoenix. Okay? And get all those first round picks, girl. To get all the lotteries, okay? That's what you need to do. Okay?
We'll
Get
see.
all those
But I'm
lotteries.
Oh
I'm
man.
not even going to comment on the trades because we don't know what they're going to do with Ben Simmons on the roster, and Ben Simmons being on the roster with his contract and those formalities. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm reserving comments on any trades until the real trade happens because who knows? But
I
we'll
want to.
see where they end up. But Chris, that trade sit in the group chat. You can stop it. He'll
What?
sit
Exactly.
before he gets traded.
What are
Like
you talking about?
I'm sorry.
What?
That
What was
Philly
it, Ben
trade you
Simmons?
put in the group chat.
Philly.
Okay, look, listen. This is the issue that I have. Everybody on NBA Twitter is like giving their worst possible trade to try to get KD. And like, I am giving the exact same trade because that's
But you're
the only.
Chris. You know
Chris, he ain't
better.
going to
Chris,
Philly,
you know
Chris.
better.
See, the problem.
Chris. He's
No,
not going to
like the problem is you're not hearing what I'm saying. There is only one trade offer from Philadelphia. The only thing they can do is trade current players to get more first round picks to add to the base of the trade. Nobody else can match the base of the trade. Everybody else has to add. And what they want, they don't want to add. Toronto doesn't want to add Scotty Barnes. Phoenix doesn't want to add Devin Booker. Like, if they add them, of course they have better offers. They don't want to add them. That's why they haven't. Give me a team that can give you a quality young talent like Tyrese, not Tyrese.
And KD will sit. It's simple as that. He won't go anywhere because we're not giving him away for trash. That's not happening. He
Like
will sit.
the problem
And the
is
NBA
you're
won't have
never going to
KD. And that's
recoup
just that.
what KD's value is. That's the problem.
Rudy Gobert, what did he go for? KD is more valuable to him. I'm sorry. He'll sit.
Minnesota
Like
was a
you're not
sucker. Not
getting
gonna lie
him
to you,
for
Malika.
trash after that Rudy Gobert nonsense.
He is. He
It's
is
not
better.
happening.
He's more valuable. You will not get KD's value.
Well, he'll sit, and I'm fine with that. We're not getting trash. No,
And
that's
Malika, I
not
got Kobe
happening.
White, the
He'll sit
Portland
right
pick,
there.
Patrick
Oh,
Williams.
Chris, can I say something real quick? Can I say? Oh, I'm sorry, AO8. Can I say something real quick though?
No, go ahead. You could.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go right after me, AO8. Okay, so Malika, don't you stress about it. Sorry, Chris. You know, Chris, you ain't getting him. So relax yourself. Calm down. Relax yourself. Drink. Go to Cracker Barrel. Get you a good cream wheat. It'll help you.
Oh, well,
but anyways,
we don't. That's mid. Like, it's like getting warm ketchup. It's just something you don't do. Gonna give some shout outs down below while I take this moment to get Cracker Barrel out of my brain because it is literally never mind. Bad childhood memories. I want to give a shout out to C Hendo. Chris Henderson is in the building. If you love sports, which you do because you're here, you should follow him because he covers sports as an independent journalist. You can catch him right now barnstorming across Major League Baseball, interviewing the best that the league has to offer. So if you do like baseball, check him out. But also, he does gaming, shoes, and NBA. Like the guy is always working. That's why he has this hashtag that you can check out on Instagram as well, which is hashtag WRKN. Iman Adan from Dishes and Dimes, Yahoo Sports Canada, and Basketball News is also in the building. I saw Janelle Moore in a little earlier of the Mercury News. Also want to give a shout out to Rasputin. She's going back to that. It's all good. And we have some breaking news, some big news. I'm teasing you some news, and I will tell you a little bit later because I'm trying to do what Woj and Shams do. Anyway, back to the discourse. Can anybody give me a team that can give you that high a base of a trade?
Okay, I got one. My Warriors won, girl. I might KD because I just want to win more rings. I want my Warriors to win some chips. But honestly, though, the truth I won't tell you, Maliika, you gonna either go to Toronto or Charlotte. Got some talent down there. Okay, I know y'all think, oh my God, KD don't want to play in Charlotte. He gonna have to play somewhere. Okay, it's not his choice of who he goes to. It's Brooklyn's just getting it. Oh, you want to be somewhere warm?
Hey, Malayia, can I ask you a question?
It is definitely KD's choice.
Who's to say
ain't
that
KD's
KD and Kyrie
choice.
just
No.
don't get talk it out and come back for a year? Like, I think that's the most likely scenario, honestly.
But like I said, Maliika, you should probably just to get the most young. If you just want young talent, girl, I'll say go to Toronto, Charlotte. There's probably some other squads that got a lot of young talent.
We'll send a note to Sean Marks, but yeah.
And you know what? And those are two best teams that got the young talent. I'm just saying, I don't think my Warriors gonna want him back fully because just how the divorce happened with KD. But like I said, I'll say go if you just want young talent, girl, back. You just want just young talent.
Let me add on to that.
Toronto and Charlotte. I'm done.
Marcus Thompson of The Athletic put out that the Warriors superstars have been in conversations with Durant. In addition to catching up, the Hall of Fame bound peers did entertain the idea of a reunion. How sweet is that?
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Maliika. Drop him off.
The Warriors
Drop him
fans
back off.
was speaking about KD. All of a sudden, the fans want him back. Yeah, okay.
I know. I'm sorry.
We'll drop off Jordan Poole to you, girl. We drop off Jordan Poole and all his baddies and Moses Moody, all of them, girl. You gonna be straight, okay, girl?
Okay. No more.
And Brazilian Luka Doncic.
See, now you're antagonizing it. Stop it.
No, that trade can't happen unless there's a third team involved. It can't be two teams because it's too much money. You could take Wiggins off the board because they can't do Wiggins unless you send Wiggins to another team because he can't go to Brooklyn. So you got to take that off the mat. But I do not want KD back because it's the 80-20 rule. You had 80% of everything that you needed, and you decide to go with the unbalance of Kyrie. So you got to live in it. What's going to end up probably happening is they're probably going to drop off Kyrie. They're going to find some way to drop him off in LA. And they're going to look at KD and look and say, hey, you can't go where you want to go because nobody's not going to give up. I can't see Phoenix giving up Booker, them young cats. I mean, you could talk to Orlando and see if they want to get in it. You can go talk to OKC and see, but you're going to need a third team that's willing to give up pieces at the end of the day. But he's probably not going anywhere. He don't have no leverage. He's stuck where he at. and he's stuck in the hands of Brooklyn. It is what it is at this point. He needs to own up, grow up, and stick it out. He should have thought of
He could
that
be
before he
traded to
ran.
a not the greatest. He could really raid or not be traded to a team that's not, that's going to be ripped of assets eventually, or go to a team that's not really, competitive right now to get off Brooklyn. But whatever team he goes to, will have him for 4 years. I mean, we'll see what happens. But the Nets will have a season next season. We won't be 20-52, but we'll have a team out there better than that at least. I mean, shoot,
And
I'll
he
just
may
love
not
the
go anywhere
NBA. It's all
now.
good. I'm sorry, what you
Right.
say?
And he may not go anywhere now. You got the trade deadline when the season begins. So they got time. It ain't like they got to make a move now because things could happen. People can get injured. And then depending on how desperate that person is, then they might be able to move some pieces once they get the season started and before we get to the mid-season trade deadline. So like I said, it is what it is. I can't deal with his emotional up and downness. Okay, I just can't. I can't deal with KD right now. I love him. I love him. I don't hate him. I understand he had every right to move, but I just can't deal with the emotional up and down with him. He got to go. He got to
I'm done
go.
with
I
the
just can't.
emotional attachment. I'm done with the emotional attachment with my team. I love them, but I'll live. I went through my emotional things last week, and now it's just we'll see what happens. That's all I got. Maybe
I'm
Saint,
glad
maybe
you're okay,
Saint and
Maliika.
Cash
I
can
was
come up
concerned
here
last week.
and go off, but I'm literally done. I can't. I have no more to give. Maybe Saint and Cash can give the energy that give that energy.
And speaking of Saint or Cash, if you are wanting some Brooklyn Nets on your timeline, those are two wonderful people to follow. They also host rooms here and also on YouTube. Saint with Nets Kingdom and Nets Kingdom AJ over on YouTube and also here on Spaces. And Cash Spears season Flopaganda with Brooklyn Netcast does the Netcast on YouTube, and they also host Spaces here. I like that you say that you have moved on from the emotional attachment, but like I can still hear some of it when we talk about KD. But it's okay because I
Well,
probably
KD, he's my favorite player besides Kawhi. Him and Kawhi are my favorite players to watch in today's league. And so at least I'll have them back. I'll have at least Kawhi back next season. KD, who knows? Like he's a hooper, he'll hoop. But if he's still in the Nets, I don't know what he's going to do. So, I mean, I've been a KD fan since he entered the league. But I'll live. I'll move on.
all right. We got TJ, who's a Warriors fan. We'll go to him, his thoughts, and then we'll go to JFK and 808s. What's up, everybody? Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Bankai, 808, Maliika, Malayia. I can get to you in just a sec. JFK, Dany, everybody listen. I am really getting irritated about this whole Warriors KD rehashing all the bad energy. You don't want him, you do want him. We don't need him, and I'm not, as a Warriors fan, not willing to give up the whole core to try to get him for 1 year. I will definitely agree with what Dany said. She briefly touched on it. She said as a third team, I think OKC, if OKC wants to give up SGA, that would be a good marketing piece to reset the whole Nets organization. They got hella picks. They got the assets to do something as a third party. So I think that would be a good fit. Maybe in the long term, maybe a KD to OKC reunion might be a nice thing too. Might bring some more energy to that franchise. But that's all I wanted to say, Malayia. Don't do this. Don't waste that energy on trying to get KD back. He is a phenomenal player, but he does not need to be back here in Golden State. That's my time. Appreciate y'all.
TJ, I'm just trying to win. I'm just trying to destroy people.
We just won a championship without him.
I know, but I want to keep destroying people, though. I don't want no sugarcoat. I want to be like the Death Star and just blow up everything. Because when these people get on my nerves, like this bootleg Trae Young and, Ja and whatever he does, I want.
All right. Trae Young and Ja Morant are bootleg. They are giving people buckets. Stop that.
No, Ja is not bootleg. Ja is not bully. I actually like Ja, but I'm just saying, Trey is Dolph Ziggler. Hello. Okay, the Stephen Curry, Shawn Michaels. Right. Just like LaMelo Ball is Dolph Ziggler to Matt.
We ain't doing this. Stop this. This is nasty behavior. Nasty behavior.
I'm telling the truth, though.
Not the truth. It is nasty behavior. Like,
that's not the truth. Trae Young is Dolph Ziggler to Stephen Curry, Shawn Michaels. Magic is Shawn Michaels. LaMelo is Dolph Ziggler. Bootleg. See, when Magic Johnson got LaMelo, he started with 2K. Okay, how am I going to do this? Okay.
All right. We're not using 2K to have this conversation either. Speaking of 2K, shout out to 2K. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard, Michael Jordan, the cover athlete of 2K23. I want to add in a random thought here, right? A random thought. Tim Doyle of CBS Sports and Jerry O'Connell, the actor, could be the same person. I would not know, and you cannot tell me otherwise. If you don't know, it's pretty funny. I'm going to give myself a point because you guys are going to check it out later and you're going to be like, oh my God. Shout out to Bankai, the show killer, who almost killed the show with a tweet this morning. Good morning, Bankai.
Good morning. What's up, Chris? I wasn't expecting to be up next. Good morning, everybody else.
Well, I have to like trick people to give 808s a chance to not be the only person to receive the horns.
Oh, why? Why would I be receiving the horns? I haven't said anything. I don't think I'm going to say anything crazy.
Well, no, he gets the horns because he's never, he takes too long to respond.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Well, I would say real quick, I find that very interesting. The whole Kevin Durant back to the Warriors thing. Me personally, I'd like to see it happen. I don't see why not. I'm never opposed to reunions, even like when they don't end maybe on good terms or whatever. It would be very fun to see Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, KD all close it out. Like imagine they just end up together for the rest, remaining of their careers. I don't know how long each one of them has, but I can assume some of them might have a little bit longer than others. I think it'd be really fun.
So you'd be okay with the Warriors essentially running back one of the most dominant offensive teams in history?
I think so. I think so. Just because, look, I wasn't a Warriors fan or anything, and I've never had like animosity towards the Warriors. But I found that team incredibly entertaining when they did have it. It was so much fun. The basketball, the ball movement that they had was really good. I just overall very entertaining and dominant team. Like, for example, like I know the Heat, when LeBron and Wade and Bosh were there, were very hated at times, but I still like really love that team because of how entertaining they made basketball. Like every night was a highlight reel. Every play was pretty much a highlight reel, and I did appreciate that, So it will be the same thing with the Warriors. Even though they're a little bit older now, but I think they'd still be very dominant if they were back together.
All right. Cool. JF, what's up, man?
Yeah, I got a quick, question. Don't you think KD is a little bit, on the other side of this prime to be asking for 2 All-Stars and a whole bunch of first-round draft picks? I mean, there's plenty of teams that can give him some, but that's crazy.
Look, man, all of that to me, without any direct source, seems to be more posturing or narrative dribble, right? Like if Kevin Durant, like one thing Kevin Durant isn't is afraid to speak his mind, right? Like if he really wanted to say something, he would say it. So like all of the tertiary reports are more, I think, smoke screens, as they probably are trying to hammer out how he can stay. And my idea of him being traded is kind of now linked to what Kyrie decides to do, with opting into just 1 year. Like if he wakes up and does say I want to be a Laker and ends up either propagating a buyout, or they do this Russell Westbrook trade that seems to not be going away, then I think we see him move.
And I agree with you on that, Chris. I think if Kyrie stays, I think he's okay to stay there. But if Kyrie loses, he knows damn well he doesn't want Ben Simmons as his point guard. I mean, this just shows accountability on Ben Simmons' part for not showing off in the playoffs. But, I think KD is going to do his thing. I really see him staying because at the end of the day, what Nets are asking for, even as a Miami Heat fan, there's no way I'm going to give up a Bam and a Tyler Hero and whoever may else come with it for a KD and a Ben Simmons. I would love to add KD, but that's if Pat Riley can make his magic happen. I mean, last time we got Jimmy Butler, we gave away a turkey sandwich. Hopefully we can give away a ham sandwich for KD. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
Stop saying KD is worth a ham sandwich. Come on, man.
No, I'm just saying Pat Riley can make a turkey sandwich or a ham sandwich look like a kilo of crack. So we never know.
Like Chris,
what's up, Bankai?
When was the last time a player or two players of their magnitude, I guess, talent, requested a trade and instead, they ended up staying and they worked it out?
Charles Barkley for a year. That the second year didn't end that way. He ended up getting his trade. Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter had talked about leaving Portland, but that was more so because the team was like going bankrupt or something. It's been a while. It's really rare to have two players, right? Maybe Shaq and Kobe, but more so.
Gary Payton, Sean Kemp?
Nah. That there was other circumstances. Sean Kemp had a wonderful life. Let's just put it that way, right?
But Chris, can we really blame him for the getting big over the offseason? Well, not the offseason, but the year that they had off or whatever.
Oh no, I don't blame anybody for getting big. Like if you like food, eat. Just work out. If you're a professional athlete. 808s, what's up?
As I said here on the 5th of July, now I know it is officially a Tuesday. I still just find it insane that we're sitting here talking about the Warriors, talking about KD, talking about all this other stuff after they just won a championship. Like, what is life anymore, honestly?
Well, I'm here to break down a couple of games by Matt McClung, who looks like he is going to be well on his way to being the South Bay Lakers' #1 star.
Chris, early in the show, I said you were down bad. This just further cements my statement.
Oh, come on, man. Like, you weren't excited to see what Fabian White Jr. looked like?
Listen, man, I thought Mac McClung was still with the Windy City Bulls. That's what I tell you. I didn't know that he was still back with the Lakers.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a couple of other things that we're going to move towards. Shams v. Woj, there was a poll up here. I wanted to actually ask in this context, which is why I have this up here, who do you like and why? I just want to hear the why. Who do you prefer and why is that? Because I think, like, one of the cool things that Spaces provides is this open access for journalists to come through and share their work. And I'm wondering if one of them popped up in here, whom would you rather it be here in Spaces? If you got any thoughts on that. And then if not, I'm probably going to end up taking a little bit of extra time. My father's in here, so maybe we'll go catch lunch a little early.
I mean, the obvious pick is Sham. I'm not gonna lie to you. One, he's from Chicago. That's already a winner. And two, I mean, he's got the pool with the players. I mean, Woj is cool. I mean, if you like the draft being ruined at 9 a.m., damn near 12 hours before the draft is actually starting. So,
all right, I feel you. I actually kind of think it's Woj because I think he would be funnier.
No man with the St. Bonaventure is funny. I'm sorry.
Tony Kornheiser.
He's an exception. He's Tony Kornheiser. I mean, come on.
There you go. Well, you said nobody.
Tony Kornheiser, he's not human.
Man. He didn't graduate from St. Bonaventure though. He only went there for a year.
Yeah, I would definitely not have known that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Grew up listening. All right, we've got the Summer League. I already gave the games out today. We are all sitting here waiting on Kevin Durant, but there are also other free agents have yet to be signed. Two of them is DeAndre Ayton and Colin Sexton. I put a tweet out this morning. Colin Sexton is healthy, and if you read all of the rumor reports and you do talk to some of these journalists, like there's from anywhere between 11 and 14 million, kind of like what originally people thought Malik Monk was going to get, all the way up to 20 million. My question is, if you are one of these teams who have missed out on pretty much anybody worth of value, what is the next free agent you are looking to sign? Is it either DeAndre Ayton or Sexton on the restricted free agent list? Or are you trying to really hold out for the Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving trade? Or are you Miami and you're really just waiting for Donovan Mitchell to say, get me out of here?
Wow.
So, I mean,
it's
a shitty situation all the way around. Not gonna lie to you.
So with the Miami Heat though, and Donovan Mitchell, like what assets exactly do the Heat have to give up for Mitchell?
Duncan Robinson, Oladipo. I mean, we still got money. We can give up a big because they need a big now, like Yurtseven or Deadman. There's a lot of things we can do.
I don't think they'd be moving both Hero and Oladipo, but they would definitely need to move Hero. They would definitely have to attach Duncan Robinson, and then after that, it's matching salary to 15%. So they'd actually probably talk about possible swap of Kyle Lowry and Mike Conley. That could also happen. But that's really the only team that Donovan Mitchell's been linked to since New York seems to have taken themselves out of the conversation.
Yeah, so no picks, right? Like no picks will be involved, likely.
Involved.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't be as much as like what Rudy Gobert got because they're getting Tyler Hero back, but you probably assume 2 or 3 first without question.
Yeah, we got 27 and a 28 first round.
Can't trade both back-to-back stipend rule. That's part of the issue with the KD trade too, as well, is that teams that want to make that trade with the draft picks can't because they've already traded and they can't do consecutive first rounds. So that's why like teams like Philadelphia have been trying to go back to other teams to say, hey, we can do this and you can add a first. And like I add Eric Gordon because apparently that was the stipulation about an Eric Gordon trade to Philadelphia, was that Houston would have to give back a heavily protected first so they could add it to a trade capital to try to swing KD to Philly, right? So there are other teams doing that as we speak as well, trying to get as many first rounds as possible. And unfortunately for the league, like they're all in 3 places: Oklahoma City, New York, and San Antonio.
Chris, I'm all for basketball fans being more knowledgeable about the money side of the game, but please go touch some grass. Like, honestly, you worry about your team not using the MTMLE and the ACLME. Like, please, like, it's summer. Go outside, man.
Yeah. It's hot. Why would we even go outside?
I don't give a damn.
Where do you? This is your fandom. You create your fandom the way you want to. Have as multiple teams that you want. You enjoy your team. You push for your team. That's what fandom is about. You do you, Chris. Don't let that cankerous man dictate your life.
He's talking about Mavs Twitter, who like right now, it's a race between Mavs Twitter and Heat Twitter for the fan base that's more irate of doing nothing.
No. Hey, hold on. Obviously, y'all not plugged in with Bulls Twitter. They over there. It's not pretty. It's really not pretty. Even though one of the main issues with the Bulls all season last season was the fact that they had no depth behind Vucevic at center, and they signed literally the best big man in the league last year, and nothing was done. And you signed Goran Dragic, and nothing was done. Like, did they not sign Caruso, Alonso, and DeMar in the same offseason 2 years ago? Like, did that not happen? Did I imagine that?
With Chicago's, they had to re-sign Levine, right? Like they picked up Drummond. Who else did they pick up? Oh, well, that
was it.
That was hilarious. No, I thought they picked up a wing. They picked up
guard.
They signed Dalen Terry from the draft. I mean, they just signed the other wings.
No, didn't they sign Goran Dragic?
Yeah,
Point guard.
I can't believe Dallas couldn't get that done. That is such a shame.
I'm not
Cheap.
gonna lie.
This one is cheap. You got a leaky roof you can't fix. You cheap.
Free, like I'm looking at a couple other things
I'm
here.
shockingly about to start agreeing with Sean with the W. No more small market teams.
Pistons signed Buddy Boeheim to a 2-way contract.
Of course.
That makes sense. Yeah, look, I'm done. I'm gonna go get lunch early. I hope everybody has a wonderful Tuesday, because apparently Woj and Shams, they don't want to cooperate by giving us the tweets that we desire. We need to work on that. Bankai, what do you got?
They're not going to have anything on those trades for quite a while, if at all this season, if that's what you're waiting for. Kyrie, yeah, but not the other one.
Oh yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I get it, but like.
No, I was gonna ask you or Maliika, like, are the Nets making those moves the Nets made, like with Royce O'Neal and T.J. Warren? Like, did they make those in mind with like maybe KD and Kyrie possibly staying, or them going, or just?
Bankai, you're my dude and everything, but I'm not Sean Mark. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I have no idea what Sean Marks is doing, what his plan is. I mean,
he didn't share it with you over break, Maliika.
I'm not even going to try to even suspect Saints up here. Like, maybe he has something to say, but I'm waiting for all the dust to settle. I'm not going to guess when I have no idea what the picture is going to look like. But Saint may be better at that. Saint, what do you think? What is Sean Marks thinking with these moves?
Well, we also just picked up Edmund Sumner just now.
Yeah, I saw that. Another player coming back from a torn ACL. But what is picking up all these torn ACL recoveries, okay. But what is his plan? What is Sean Marks thinking?
I don't even think Sean Marks knows what Sean Marks is thinking. I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like any one of these possibilities is like a strong possibility of either them staying or going, right? Like, because if you're looking at all the language, you're looking at all the possibilities and supposed trade things, or who they can send them here and get that, and you're hearing different language from both sides. I honestly could see this going both ways. I do believe there is hope that they could try to work things out and run it back a year and see what happens. I really do believe that. But on the flip side, it to me, it looks like people are trying to get KD and Kyrie on the cheap, or not having to really give up much. And I'm kind of relieved to see that Sean Marks in the front office, even though they've royally screwed up a lot of things, that they haven't just rushed to move and just made it happen. So there's hope that it could, who knows, maybe they don't find what they want. It forces the players to come back. I just don't see KD like sitting out, and maybe they take time and maybe it works out. I mean, honestly, for the first time, I could look at this and go, I have no clue. But I really wanted to come up and let Chris and 808s and whoever wants to kind of, because I missed all the cooking. Unfortunately, I had to work on Friday, so I got to miss your show, Chris. So this was an opportunity for you to like cook away. If you have anything, like, I'll just straight laughing. I'm willing to, I didn't want to dodge any smoke, so that's kind of why I'm up here too. And I couldn't let Maliika be alone because people come, they can't do that to her. She's too nice.
What's good, my boy? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, man. I honestly like Maliika. I was like, I went through my emotional stage.
That's denial.
I went through my emotional stage. Listen, you can't. I've been a Nets fan for 30 years. You don't think I've been miserable before? You don't think I've watched shit after shit after shit and been disappointed? What's that?
You're bargaining with yourself.
No, there's no bargaining. This is dude, I was born in the darkness, Chris. I was born into it. I'm comfortable here.
Acceptance.
I'm honestly okay. I'm over a lot of the anger.
Yo, Chris, he should
Hey,
get.
yo, Saint, I said the same thing with Cam Payne was my starting point guard, and Denzel Valentine was playing starter minutes, man. Trust me, I get it.
Chris, just a
But
suggestion. You should get two horns for that. He got that from a Batman movie.
Oh, Bankai actually coming through with something.
Oh, Batman, that's negative 2 points.
well, we're gonna give Bankai the credit for bringing up a correction, and then we're gonna take it away because nobody wants to talk about Batman. He's a fraud.
He's the greatest. Don't start.
Listen, it technically wasn't
the greatest at what? Losing?
It was.
What is why do you hate Batman so much? What is
Why?
Was pretty much clear. He's a fraud. Like
he's not a super. I don't see him as a superhero. He is a vigilante who helps people.
Who does he help other than himself and his tag friends?
The city of Gotham.
Yeah,
he kills people in the name of justice.
He's vengeance. That's what happens when you do vengeance. Fuck everybody else. Shit,
well,
kill people.
vengeance, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Marks strikes again. I wanted to give you some Edmund Sumner stats, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh God, here we go.
Second round draft pick, Detroit County Day. Shout out Detroit. I actually watched him. He went to Xavier. Thought he was going to come in and be a good heady guard and be able to guard positions 1 through 3. In 4 years with the Indiana Pacers and their G League affiliate, the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Shout out to the Mad Ants. 5.7 points per game, 1 assist, 1.5 rebounds. Sean Marks.
Strikes again.
Detroit County Day ain't even in the city limits or in the same county. It's in Oakland County.
I know.
A hot mess.
And if people look at what if people want to judge what Sean Marks is doing, just once again list the great acquisitions by Sean Marks once again, and then please tell me how he's doing such an amazing job for the amount of Nets fans that carry water for this front office. It's amazing. I'm sorry, it's trash at this point.
Awesome job.
I feel bad for Nets fans, but look, you remember the episode of The Cosby Show when Vanessa came home with her husband and she wondered why her parents were acting crazy? This is what happens with the Nets.
I actually do remember this, Danny. I am old enough to remember this.
They got Kyrie and Durant were presented to them without any knowledge. They didn't know. So look, you get shit presented to you as a pie, it's still gonna be shit at the end of the day. That's what happened. This was always gonna be a disaster, no matter what nobody said or did. I
am still trying to figure out how you managed to pick somebody that I don't like as well. I don't know. This is weird. I am not a Bill Cosby fan.
Well, you don't have to be a fan to not enjoy the show. I enjoyed the show as a kid, okay?
Did you not enjoy it at all, Chris? Did you not? No, not even.
But you couldn't relate? What you think, black folks couldn't live like that or something? I lived like that. I don't know. I know what pate was. I ate it.
Funny. It was not funny. That's the problem I have with the show.
Oh God! So you probably think Friends is funny?
No, Friends was the Cosby Show mixed with the Living Single.
Oh Lord! Living Single, we good at.
Living Single was funny.
I love Living Single. That's my favorite. It came out before Friends. A lot of people don't realize that.
Well, yeah, the Friends was based off of it. I'm saying, you get the writing from the Cosby Show and you based it on Living Single, and you put those people together in New York.
I'm not gonna let you bait me into this, okay? Cosby Show rules. I watch them and still laugh with that shit. Thank you. Well, this would come from the man that eats coleslaw. You probably ate coleslaw for breakfast.
No, I didn't, but it would be better than most places. Slim Reaper, what's up?
Yo, what's up? I just had one thing to say. Did you guys notice that Kevin Durant tweeted that it's the Wings League and what's it called? Sean Marks signed I think two wings today, and then a 6'5" ball handler.
Well, just remember that when Sean Marks said it, when KD said it was a wings league, his first signings were actually short dudes, and picking short dudes up at the end of the draft. So, yeah.
One of the
Are
reasons
you
why we
alluding?
lost.
This is gonna be bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could make the argument that what you're seeing, because I don't know. I look at it this way: like, if you were really going to make a huge trade, would you be probably picking up these quality or some of these players? I don't know. Like, that's like it could also be looked at that, like, hey, maybe they are going to run it back. Like, who knows? Like, he's preparing for them to be there. I think that's the most frustrating thing, is we're still at the who the hell knows stage in Nets history. And if anything, that's where I'm frustrated.
As a Nets fan, we have to deal with drama for like 2-3 seasons in a row with Kyrie's vaccine, the Harden trade, and then the drama. And then with the KD trade, and then with Kyrie wanting to leave.
All right, so the title is changed, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Marks gets his man again. Edmund Sumner to the Brooklyn Nets. Mighty Brooklyn Nets. JFK, I know Miami is concerned. TJ Warren, good wing, is going to be, he can get buckets. North Carolina State alum. Look, I remember when he was drafted, people were like that he was drafted too high. I thought he was phenomenal. He really came off in Indianapolis, Indiana. He got hurt. Your thoughts on the Saints' two big pickups here, JFK?
Really no thoughts on TJ Warren. I really don't care about him. I still got beef with him from the bubble. So yeah, he can see me in the heat outside. Second thing, I really wanted to come up here and go ahead and say that Batman probably wouldn't last 5 minutes into the first season of The Boys. I think he would have got ran by that. And then I also wanted to say I think Donovan Mitchell's Spider-Man version could probably be Batman. Other than that, no TJ Warren for me. You can give me another player. I'm good off of it.
All right. Anybody else want to hop up in here? Sean Marks, ladies and gentlemen. Man, he did it again.
Does Sean Marks know what he's doing at this point? Like, I have no confidence in the front office. I have no idea what they're doing. I mean, next season I'll be watching the NBA, and I have no idea what the Nets will look like. But at least I get Kawhi back. I mean, I have nothing else to give. I mean, I don't know if KD's going to be on the floor. He's a hooper, so I think he'll play, but we'll see. I mean, that's all I got. Like, I don't know what Sean
You always
Marks is
have
doing.
Charlotte, Maliika. You always have Charlotte. You and Brandon. You got Charlotte.
Well, Charlotte, with Miles Bridges, them losing their second best player, I mean,
Don't forget,
who knows what they're going to look like too. But I love the NBA in general. A lot of players are coming back from injury. You got Anthony Davis coming back, Jamal Murray coming back, Michael Porter coming back, Kawhi coming back. I'm
is
sorry, what?
Montrezl Harrell still in jail?
He's not, but Montrezl Harrell. That I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen there? That was, for me, for marijuana. His case shouldn't even be. It's just ridiculous that people are still being arrested for marijuana. That's a ridiculous case.
It wasn't just the marijuana. It was the amount and and driving.
That man was trapping.
I keep hearing that players usually have pick due amount to do larger amounts.
Without doubt. Like that was,
and they do it for an extended period of time. It's not just for. They usually pick up for months, not just for...
that is his summer stash, but the issue is he did it in a state that doesn't allow it.
And he picked it up himself. Like, come on, bro, what?
Yeah, can I say something about that? Because I do watch a lot of Charlotte games as well as Warriors. I agree. He did it in he was he had a bunch of weed on him in a bad state where you can't have it. So honestly, he should have known that he shouldn't have had that much weed on him in a certain city. So
Yeah, I agree, Malaysia. I definitely agree with that.
Yes, he shouldn't get in trouble for weed. It's not like unless he got in an accident or something or whatever.
You
can say
Wait,
Go.
Malayia, again, it's not the weed that was the problem. It's where he was and the amount that he had. Like, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
agree that we shouldn't be charging people for laws and stuff like that, but come on now. It's common sense.
The classification is the Class D for first-time offenders. It's punishable by up to 1 to 5 of incarceration with a range of fines from 1,000 to 10,000. It's going to be adjudicated through the Kentucky, justice system. We're not going to really be able to comment on anything until it does.
What is his court date?
Well, I don't know.
Hey, Chris.
And I think the Hornets probably gonna wait. Sorry, 808s. I think the Hornets probably gonna wait and see how his situation, as well as someone else, finish, and then they might. I don't know, because it's a long story with Montrez. Just a organization and Miss Kupchak needs Jesus. So yeah.
See, like.
Hey, Chris, listen.
It's a long conversation, Chris. I'm just saying. I'm telling the truth here. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, we're not gonna have it today. Chris, listen. If KD ends up a Raptor, can we officially publicly blame Iman? It's her fault.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
It's scandalous.
But if
I like it,
he ends up in Toronto, it is her fault.
Chris, I just want to say. I just want to say I think Montrezl Harrell should have took a book from Udonis Haslam's page. You got to ride with a friend. So if you do get caught, I mean, you have the money to bail him out. That's why UD was able to be where he's at today.
Allegedly.
No,
Montrez is balling out in the Drew League. Just letting y'all know.
There's no allegedly. That happened. Hoop Spaces Ryan is up here. Normally, I would hit a button that would play some theme music, but I can't because it's under copyright. And now that we are powered by audiolabs.io on YouTube, which is where you can go to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, we've got to be careful what we play. So I have actually been on the hunt for some new game show music. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there ain't a lot of good ones out there. Okay? Like, y'all should actually be paying me money to sit through listening to these sound effects. Like, it's bad. It's so bad. I actually thought about reaching out to my man Sam, be like, Sam, you have to save me. You need to write a game show jingle because nothing beats the Family Feud theme. So if Hoop Spaces Ryan does have trivia, we're going to go ahead and let him imitate a theme song, and then he'll give it. I don't want to give a big shout out again to Iman because if KD does end up in Toronto, it is her fault. And we will blame her accordingly because, she was right. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. I actually do not have trivia today because I wanted to respond to the what's going on in Brooklyn stuff. And as a Laker fan, I have a little bit of a topic to bring up here. Laker fans have been going through this for a couple years now, watching our front office kind of kick the can down the road and not really make any decisions for next season, just sort of, not decide to win now or go long term. It's like, okay, we're going to win now with LeBron and then wait and see, is he going to re-sign? And then he re-signed. Okay, cool. We're going to keep winning now. So what I believe you're seeing right now is the Nets franchise is in franchise purgatory. And so these signings are not wanting to, try and win now and not wanting to kick into rebuild mode. So you guys are in complete purgatory, which really sucks because none of these signings are good long term for a rebuild, and none of these signings are really great for win now. So none of these signings are really that great. So I am sorry, you are dealing with what we have dealt with, and none of them are really gonna pan out super great either way. I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I feel about it.
You're not wrong. He's not wrong.
You are not wrong. You are correct, which is the Nets, I have to say. Nets fans are used to this. I mean, we're just disappointed that we're back here. This should not be happening, not this fast. So that's where I'm at.
You know what's sad? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what's sad too, though, is normally I don't get heavy into this. Because I always do think fans play a major part in the success of sometimes because of what fans how much they buy into what you're doing. But from top to bottom, from ownership to players, just highly disappointed in what really feel like they've let down and shit on fans, quite honestly. Fans do not deserve especially some of the fans that have really, like, where you put energy into it, money, time, and just to like have what's happened to this organization the last couple seasons. It's sad to sit back. It's like you're raising ticket prices. You're doing all these things where it's like you're trying to build a franchise. You're trying to build your bit, whatever you're trying to do, where you attract fans. Like, isn't that what you're at the end of the day is like? That's what you're aiming also to do, is to attract fans to buy your merchandise, your food, your tickets, your season. Like, that's where you're generating not only, well, no, I should say this. Obviously, they make more money from TV deals and all that, where maybe that the fan really is not your biggest concern. But it's sad. From a fan perspective, watching what's going on, you are not wrong. It's pathetic. And
They
this is how you
raised
lose.
ticket prices
Yeah.
on Nets fans with this crap going on. I'm not a season ticket holder, so
Can I
I
ask
don't
you
feel the pain like others. But they did raise the ticket prices, and you have season ticket holders who've been long time season ticket holders, trying to get at least a discount. But just a mess with the Nets. It's just a mess.
To me, it's kind of like a shit or get off the pot scenario. Which do you want them to do? Could they rebuild or commit to trying to win now, which may blow up in their face? What do you want them to do, considering they're dealing with two disgruntled superstars?
Me personally, I want to see them run it back. I feel like that. Give me 1 year. Give me 1 year of Ben Simmons, Kyrie, KD, and if it doesn't work, then blow it up. I mean, quite a lot of Net fans that I've talked to, that's what a lot want. There also is a fair amount of Nets fans that want us to completely blow it up. I'm not there. Like, I still want KD and Kyrie on my team. I wanted to see how the Ben Simmons situation would work out. Like, that's what I really want, because I no matter what drama and dumb crap has gone on with this organization for the last 2 seasons, the one thing that people like can't like deny is that if in the last 2 seasons we do not have the injuries that we have, and obviously the mandate situation, which nobody saw coming, if you don't have those things happen, like we've had things happen to our team that has not been as egregious as what's happened to other teams. Like, we're having a different conversation right now. And I think that kind of gets lost in all this, where it's just like, people are judging a team at time that was like never full strength, never, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, there's like a level of this where a lot of bad luck has happened to the Nets. And I wonder that if that bad luck was not there, what kind of conversation would we be talking about? Right. And I that's where I'm still like, give me 1 more year. You give me the 1 more year with this big three. And if the shit don't work, then blow it up. Don't care. Whatever. I'm happy to go back down to the bottom and hey, at least say we gave it a run. That's where I'm at. I'm not ready to blow it up yet as a fan.
Are you
Saints, can I ask?
Are you concerned about the relationship being tarnished with 2 trade requests from the 2 biggest stars?
Well, I also think, Kyrie hasn't come out and said I wanted to trade. KD has. And quite honestly, though, to be honest, the other thing that's irritated me is that both players and organization front office have been playing this childish game with reporters since everything started, where it's like in middle school when you send your friend with the paper to ask the girl if she still likes you, right? Like, I also think a lot of reporting, a lot of things have been going on, have been blown out of proportion. I definitely think both sides are unhappy about some things, but I don't think it's as egregious as people are making it out to be. So I do think it is repairable. If we're looking at both sides as grown-ass mature people, then they should be able to do that. I think there's more there to actually, it makes more sense for the Nets and the organization to make up and give this a run, because quite honestly, as you're seeing, the options, if you're to trade either of these guys, are not 100% exactly what you want. And you're seeing reluctance from teams to really blow up to get Kevin Durant. And you already know how small the market is for Kyrie Irving. To me, it makes sense to make it work, quite honestly.
But Shane, let me just ask you: you had Harden last year. I mean, how much more is Ben Simmons going to do? I mean, I would have more faith in that Harden, Kyrie, and KD instead of Ben Simmons. Plus, you lost Bruce Brown, and then you really don't have any guard play after that. So How you feel
I'm not
about
worried
that?
about Bruce Brown though, JFK. I think Bruce Brown is a replaceable person. Quite honestly, I'm not too concerned about him. And you're right about Harden. But if for me, if Ben Simmons does come back fully healthy, he can still provide ball movement. Like he's still a great defensive player. Like his handles, he can still run the team. Like it. I still see Ben Simmons fitting in with KD and Kyrie, and if you're putting shooters around him, and let's just say they magically go get some kind of stretch five or somebody close to it, he's not a bad fit if he's fully healthy. I would have loved for Harden to be on point and actually care at some point, because outside of the drama that Harden may have saw, Harden didn't come in with intensity, like some seriousness. Like you can tell, yeah, dude had a hamstring issue, but at the same time, it didn't look like Harden was really trying that hard until he got to Philly, where now he's got to change his perception. He's got to start working out better. He's taking less money. He's trying to repair his image a little bit, but I'm not. I still think the Ben Simmons, KD, Kyrie could actually still work very well, because it does give the Nets another ball handler. It does give the Nets defense. I'm not gonna sit there and just flame them for the missing of the layup or the free throws. Like there still is a positive there, in my opinion.
All right, I want to give everybody a big shout out. Thank you for coming through. Happy Tuesday, the day after the 4th of July if you're in the States, the week after Canada Day if you're up north. And to that effect, we have Iman up here, who has led the charge of the Toronto Raptors fans of bringing KD to Toronto. And if it does happen, we will definitely hold her accountable. Iman, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. It's only been 8 years in the making. When did Gravis get traded to Toronto? That's when the propaganda started. But to Saint, who was just speaking, I'm with you. I think logically, I'm like, if you have KD and you have him signed for 4 years, there's not even a player option. If someone was mentioning that on the timeline, I didn't even check to see, but like that's crazy. You have him locked in for 4 years. You just got Kyrie to opt in. Selling them when their value, I hate the term selling players, okay. Trading them when their value is at their lowest doesn't make the most sense. You have still one of the most talented teams in basketball. Giving that up at this point makes little sense. And I agree with you when you say the Nets just had bad luck. But I also, and this sounds very pull yourselves up by the bootstraps, Jimmy Butler type of talk, but I also do believe that you kind of create your own luck. And I think the Nets, when we look at the bad luck, it's similar to like a Clipper situation. Yes, they've had tons of injuries, but even before that, what was everyone talking about with the Clippers? It was the lack of a leadership there. Like, how do they blow this 3-1 lead? They need, for them, it was like, oh, they need a point guard, but they also needed like this leader. And it's very clear that those are the same reports that we're getting out of Brooklyn. You hear people on news stations saying things like, if Kyrie played for another team, the veterans would have forced him to take the shot. Or like, how could they have just allowed something like this to happen? And people talking about James Harden showing up out of shape to camp and not really trying his hardest when he wanted out and all this other stuff. Like, yes, it was bad luck, but it was very clear that there's just no stability in the franchise. And that is why there's bad luck. So although I'm like, if you have one of the most talented rosters, you keep it together. I just don't think that the luck is going to change. I think you can give them another year and another 2 years, but until you actually have some sort of stability, and it's not just a leader on the court. They don't just need a Udonis Haslem or whatever the fuck, right? Like they need an actual culture that's been established and like actual leadership from the top down, so that Kevin Durant doesn't just get to pick Steve Nash as the first-year head coach and try to make that stuff work. And real communication, so Kyrie's not like, oh, all of us are coaches. Some days I can be the coach. And like that, automatically from the jump, we should have heard that talk and been like, this is nonsensical and this stuff is not going to work. And it's very clear that it hasn't when you have all of these superstar egos kind of driving it. So although I agree with you, I look at this Nets and I'm like, why would you give them up, especially when their value is at their lowest? And I don't think that they should probably make a trade in the next week. I think Sean Marks has all of the leverage here, especially with Kevin Durant. This is not a team experiment that I think is going to work. And I think every sort of small market franchise can look at this and like breathe a sigh of relief that you can't just build super teams like this. It hasn't worked for the Clippers. Everyone thought, oh, right away they're going to be a finals team, penciling them in for a championship, and that hasn't worked. It's 3 years down the line. Sure, they've had some injury luck, but they were also blowing 3-1 leads before that, right? And it's not working for the Nets. Yeah, we can talk about Kevin Durant's foot on the line being the thing, but it's not working. And why it's not working, and I did this in a Hoop Spaces, sorry, Chris, to just repeat myself here, but I do think, and the more I think about this, you need an established culture before you create a super team. It didn't matter that LeBron James was the greatest player in basketball. I've never seen a player like 2012, 2013 LeBron James. That was just an insane level of basketball that we got to see. He was the one winning your finals MVP, but it was Dwayne Wade's team. And LeBron James was very readily able to say that, right? The culture had already been established. LeBron James wanted to switch coaches, wanted Eric Spoelstra out of there. Pat Riley said, absolutely not. This is a team, and that's how the Heat operated, and that's why that was more successful. We can look at the Warriors with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant won the finals MVP. Kevin Durant, I'm not going to argue with because I know some Warrior fans are going to get upset. I don't really care who you think is a better player, but between the two, Kevin Durant was out there winning finals MVP, but it was very clearly not his team. I don't think that that's debatable in any way. It was Stephen Curry's team. When you build these superstars, I think you can bring them into established teams and established just stable organizations. I don't know that you can create that on the fly because you have big names. It has to exist first, and then you bring the big names to it. And that's something that the Clippers are recognizing. That's something that the Nets are recognizing, and that's even something that the Lakers are recognizing too. Yes, they won a championship because LeBron James is great. That was in sort of a bubble situation. LeBron James has never missed more playoffs than he has in Los Angeles, right? So this is just a unique thing that's happening with all of these super teams, and I think we're learning that you need some sort of stability and you need some sort of team built where Kevin Durant can leave the Warriors, and they're still the Warriors. LeBron James could leave the Heat, and that's still Dwayne Wade's team. The stability and the structure still exists to this day, and that's something that the Nets don't have. And I don't know that's something that the Nets are ever going to have. I think they just sort of lost the plot with that one, and so they kind of have to just turn over a new leaf. But I don't think they should do it when their players' values are at the lowest. It just doesn't make sense from that perspective. So I think you have to wait. And if that means you start the season with Kevin Durant on your team, it means you start the season with Kevin Durant on your team. But I don't know that this experiment that they're trying will ever actually pan out.
I am actually mostly in agreement, like 95%. That the biggest fear that I have is that the only reason why it hasn't worked are actual circumstances uncontrollable by the players, right? Like I just what the Clippers look like if they.
I think the Clippers are like I think after. I just don't think it's going to be a right away thing, right? I think if you give the Nets a couple more years, they'll get it together. The Clippers have had 3 years in. They're going to be on their 4th year coming in. That might work. The Clippers, in my opinion, will be the best team in basketball. But what we saw in these years that they're not contending, what we saw in these years when Kawhi has been out and Paul George has been out, is an actual team around them being built, right? Which is what you need. They just found another way to do it, which is our superstars are going to get hurt for a couple of years and we're going to build this team here and they're going to be good, and now we're going to work our superstars back into it. It happened to be like a roundabout way that the Clippers went about it, but at the start of it, we were talking about Paul George complaining or players complaining that, Kawhi only shows up to practices once in a while and doesn't live in a city and all this. Like, we were hearing all of the noise that you get, and it just so happened that the players got injured, which sucks, but also has bought the Clippers the time they needed to bring in a coach that makes sense and build a team that actually looks good and isn't just this top-heavy team. They've got a bunch of wings. They're very modern NBA. I think the Clippers would be the best team in basketball if they just came back. But it had to happen in the way that it did. I don't know that it would have happened if they were just gunning for a championship year after year. They just got time to build.
We also have to say that they picked the right coach.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a quick question, Iman. Are you saying that KD he needs to find a way to build himself a culture, and if that's what his next role is, do you think his best chances are with Brooklyn or with another team?
I I think building yourself a culture at 30, like he's 34 years old, and I think he has, like, building a culture takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. So I think with Kevin Durant, it's joining a culture that's already been established. The Phoenix Suns have an established culture. They have an established team. Miami Heat, established culture, established team. Toronto Raptors, established culture, established team. If he goes to, like, the Charlotte Hornets, which I heard some people talking about, that is not a fucking culture that's going on over there. It's a mess. So, like, I don't know that would necessarily work, but I think he can go to teams that have that stability. I don't think he needs to create it because it's too far down the line for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Come on in here.
Real and like and Iman, 100%. I can't believe I wasn't following you before because I heard you the other day. And shout out to what you have on YouTube, Chris, because that's come in mad handy now at work. That even though I can't listen, that I love that I can listen to the replay. Like, seriously, loved it. But like to Iman's like point, like this, to me, the Brooklyn Nets were on the way to building that culture, that it was enough to attract Kyrie and KD to come there, right? Like, some people want to not give earlier Sean Marks credit for kind of revitalizing and building things, and I think they were on their way when they acquired Kevin Durant and Kyrie, and then obviously Spencer goes down, and then I felt like they just got greedy. They wanted to fire start, jump it, and they killed it. They killed their depth. They killed everything that they were working towards. And if you want to find a time of, because even Nets fans laugh at the idea of like culture, but to me, that's where your culture was beginning. And it was looking real positive. You had picks, you had money, you had young guys that were going to turn into some decent players. And if you had added a KD and Kyrie and actually gave that a moment to fester and brew, like, you really could have seen, it's hard to tell what it really could have developed into. And yeah, you could still have gone out and maybe made a couple moves here and there to get some little better guys. But I think the second you bypassed that and made your shot for Harden, you instantly killed whatever you were building. And that, to me, was the beginning of the end for the Nets. I know people used to give me a hard time when we made the Harden trade. They're like, no, you make that trade 10 out of 10. I beg to differ. I felt like, for me, as watching basketball long as I have, like, I've always valued the teams that were able to build a decent squad and then attract or sign other people, and you had stability. But for some reason, we very rarely have seen it happen, and maybe some people haven't been live long enough to see it, that when you constantly are trying to just have the big name superstar and you short everywhere else, like, at the end of the day, those teams, they're not as successful as you think it is. So 100% correct to you. I don't, unfortunately, you may be right that the reset button may have to be hit at some point. I'm almost there, but I would like to see that 1 year. And then if not, it's time to rebuild. And hopefully the Nets learn from this mistake. I think someday they will find themselves in a more positive situation, but they shot themselves in the foot, and now they're going to have to pay the price.
And speaking of shooting someone themselves in the foot and paying the price, ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple of Lakers fans up here. I want to know if the Lakers are paying attention to the fallout of Brooklyn, not because this is what's going to happen with LeBron, but this is because this is what's going to happen with LeBron. Much like the Lakers winning a championship, they were successful as every place LeBron has played. My question to the Lakers fans, are you looking at Brooklyn and projecting what might happen next offseason or 2 seasons from now or however long it will be? And with that, going through it already when you lost Kobe, how are you preparing yourselves and what do you guys see in regards to the Nets? We'll go to Drew first, and we'll get Hoop Spaces Ryan. Edwin Garcia, a.k.a. Lakers Takes, is going to hop up here. I want to give a big shout-out and a big thank you to Iman. Always great. I hope that everybody who hasn't followed her, that listened, shoots her a follow because she's phenomenal. Drew, go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. So my big take is that, yes, I would love for the Lakers to make the move because, looking at the Nets season, in my opinion, they were an A seed that had a chance of winning a championship. And that's kind of how I sum it up. And I think that with that, there's a lot of teams now, maybe 15 teams any season that can win a championship, tons of parity. So for me, to be competitive, to go get guys, obviously there's a back end with the sucking for a few seasons, but I think to go get a championship and to have your season be a 30-game playoff and to really focus on the end, I think that's just the Laker brand. And I think it's important to mention that Twitter and social media, these are tools for these teams to collect information on what we think. And I think that that's what they're doing, is they're putting this stuff out there to see how people are going to react. And then they're making the decisions based on how we react.
That is a methodology that is used. I'm not saying that's what everybody does, but to sit here and say that it doesn't happen would be disingenuous, right? Like there are PR departments and GMs, director of player personnels. They really are, let's say, attuned in that manner. So that's a great point, Drew. I just want to make sure that's not a blanket thing. There's teams that don't even practice that at all, like San Antonio. Ryan, then Edwin, and then we've got Kenny down below. And I know Pickup might want to hop in here because when we talk about culture, building a business from scratch is building a culture, and I want to make sure we get his thoughts on here as well. Ryan, go ahead.
All right. Yes, there is concern for the future, but it's a little different than it has been in the past. Number one, we're in a bit of franchise purgatory, like I talked about. The Nets are earlier, and our franchise purgatory right now is because the Nets are in franchise purgatory. Now, we're not as much in franchise purgatory for this year because we're going to try and contend this year, whether it's with, and I say it with the biggest sigh and hesitance, with Russell Westbrook on the roster or without. But now we're talking about next year. Next season, there will be no Russell Westbrook on the roster. Who knows if we're going to have a LeBron James on the roster, but we do have one Anthony Davis signed for next season and a player option for the season after that. And we do have a overpaid Talen Horton-Tucker, who, unless he breaks out like crazy, will likely pick up his player option unless he gets traded. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that who knows about the whole Kyrie thing. So I think we have to assume for this conversation that doesn't happen. That's the easier way to figure this out. And so to me, the Lakers are building around a superstar for at least one season, and building around a superstar that gives the Lakers one season to try and put together something, try and attract free agents, try and do something like that. So yeah, it's a bad situation, but it's one season to try and do something good. And if nothing happens, then it's completely down in the dumps. It's terrible. But one thing to look at is everyone thinks the Lakers have given up all their picks for eternity. We're actually getting to the point where enough time has elapsed where we are starting to get to the point where we have picks again in the draft. And we haven't actually traded the 27 and 29 picks yet. So we'll have those, and we actually have a couple picks coming up in the next few years. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Lakers franchise, but it is not looking great. We do have a chance. Depending on what happens here. There's a lot. Like I just said, it's purgatory right now. Everything's sort of up in the air. We really need to get this whole Kyrie situation figured out. No real decisions can be made. I mean, until all of this first chip settles, no one can really make any long-term decisions. So I think both the Nets franchise and Lakers franchise are both making decisions, trying to tread water and trying to keep options for next season open, which is making it worse for everyone, unfortunately, and the fans are all suffering.
Yeah, no, I actually, of course I agree. If you don't know, everybody, Ryan here, because I'm looking at Sean Malcolm below. Ryan here works on the back end. He just put the YouTube carousel up. We're in the middle of changing the website. If you want to actually go on this journey with Ryan, because he's doing the work here on this, head over to hoopspaces.com and you can see his handiwork. Other things will be changing, including adding a place for our own written content as well, and the written content for others who might just want an extra avenue of publicity. And I just want to say, we wouldn't be able to do what we've done. And today actually marks our 1-year anniversary. We started and held our first space July 5th last year. And I wanted to tell Ryan, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because we wouldn't be here right now today doing what we're doing without what you've been able to do.
Chris, it's 100% you. .00001 rounded down to 0% me. So all that goes back to you, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for showing up day after day after day. We really appreciate it. I know Chris appreciates it. Thank you very much, Chris.
Edwin Garcia, LakersTakes.com is where you can go see his words. He also has words getting ready to pop off in various locations of major import. So what you should do is you should hit the profile picture and shoot him a follow, and go along with him as I teased what his future is going to be. Edwin, thank you for coming in. We met on Clubhouse a long time ago, it seems. And I just want to say thank you for coming aboard and along. You actually have grown so much in terms of how you've covered the Lakers and the Chicago Sky. I just can't wait to see what you have coming in for the next 2-3 years, because I know it's going to be phenomenal.
Thanks so much for the kind words, Chris. It makes it tough for me to be a mean or anything today. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. You asked earlier about the Lakers and the Nets, and where the Lakers are going after this year, and what the Nets should be prepared for. If I was a Brooklyn Nets fan, I would right now assume it's over. Don't think you're going to get enough for KD and somehow get a scrappy, second round exit with this team coming up. No, just sell it. It's over. It's done. You know what NBA purgatory is? A second round exit. That's NBA purgatory. You either want to be with a legitimate chance to make the conference finals, the NBA finals, or you don't want to play in playoffs at all. That's what you want, because you need to build assets, develop young talent, or be contending. That middle is the worst place to be. And that's exactly where they'll be if they get a borderline all-star and a couple role players for Kevin Durant. It's not worth it. The focus should be getting as many picks, being bad, and just, kind of the OKC model, the Rockets model. Getting young players, getting as many draft picks, getting as many shots at the lottery, at the draft, to acquire talent at the best price possible, which is what draft picks and the way the pay scale is. That's where the assets are. That's where the power is. So that's what my mentality would be for the Nets. Stop hoping that there's some kind of buyout, that there's some kind of pause, that, Katie decides, hey, I guess I'll play. Like, just give up those dreams and just go for getting as much picks and talent as possible. Now, when it comes to the Lakers, it's a bit rough because, as Blue Space's Ryan mentioned, we are just waiting. It's just a waiting game. And as you can tell, I don't know if you've noticed, Chris, but Twitter is very impatient. When they hear that there's no news and you have to kind of wait, they just start hypothesizing and exaggerating things. I do think the Kyrie deal will go down, but again, until it's done, it's not done, and they'll have to wait. And that's really what's going to decide how this season goes. And then, of course, Kyrie's a huge question mark in and of himself. So we'll see how that works. But that's where the Lakers are. And next year is next year. I'm not even really thinking that far. I'm also prepared for this team being very, very bad. It's very possible next year Russ is gone, LeBron is gone, AD's just okay or something, and guess what? We don't have picks until 27, 29. They're going to be very bad. But that's basketball. It ebbs and flows. You're going to have your good years with your bad years, and Lakers fans should just be happy with LeBron this year. Let's see if we can get a ring, find a way to acquire enough talent to be in contention. And after that, brace yourself. It might be, 2014 again. It might be 2013 again. It might be 2007 when if AD can be that guy. It could be like how Kobe, when Shaq left, I think they won like 35 games the next season. So those kind of things happen. It'll depend on how good AD is and what's left after LeBron leaves, if in fact he leaves next season.
Man, and just think, ladies and gentlemen, you heard 3 rational Laker fans back to back to back. Give yourself a round of applause. I think that's a Twitter record. Like, someone challenged me on that.
Nah, I'm not going to, Chris. I mean, listen, I think the Lakers are closer to where the Nets are than some fans want to admit, but they're not in a great situation either. I know some Laker fans do not that they're in denial as well, but no, the 3 takes that I've heard today, yeah. And just real quick, and then I'll shut up. Shams on Pat McPhee show just put it up in the Jumbotron, said Nets are making moves and preparations if they're bringing back Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So if you're one of those people that looks at Shams as like a person of his words are God, I mean, that's a positive for Nets. I think that is a vibe out here right now as well. But Yeah, Lakers and Nets, very similar as much as people don't want. But most Lakers fans want us to take their headache to give them a potential headache. But I think the headache they'll get is better than the one that we'll get. So not willing to do that. Not willing to help that team out. And I hope they don't.
That's a lot of headaches, man.
It is. And sometimes you got to take either the mid headache or the migraine at this point.
We are gathered here to give our farewell respects to Saint from Nets Kingdom as he gets ready to depart. Sean Marks strikes again, stake to the heart of every Brooklyn Nets fan. The man just keeps winning. Jay from BK was right. Kenny, thank you for your patience, sir. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am not going to lie because I cannot lie because I apparently am a public figure of no import. So I shall tell you the truth. I am happy that the Nets are suffering.
So I heard, so this is coming from myself, a Houston Rockets fan. So it's kind of a different view of things due to those Brooklyn draft picks. It's obviously a very exciting time in Rockets Twitter world. With lots of unrealistic possibilities that everyone tries to throw in, like throw all the BK picks and get Scotty Barnes. Like it's crazy things like that, is not going to happen. I do want to point out a few things and then get to my questions. The first thing is teams don't check Twitter before they make moves. The PR department might check it out before a controversial person, maybe someone who's been in legal trouble, but there's no way that the basketball operations department says, oh, let's see what these fans think about this move. They just make the moves. They don't go into spaces. They don't check Twitter. They just make the moves. My question is, when Nets fans talk about a total rebuild, what does that mean? Does that mean getting some draft picks and Tyler Hero and Bam and Kyle Lowry? Or does that mean lots of picks and guys like Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, Wiggins, and that kind of route? What does a total rebuild mean in the Nets world without those picks that are going to Houston?
Brooklyn Thunder?
That's messed up, the Brooklyn Thunder.
Yeah, Chris, the reason why I'm saying that is just like, their asking price is too much. I mean, if you were to say that you want Hero and Bam in the same, the same trade for Kevin Durant, I'm going to tell you that's not happening. There's no way Pat Riley is going to trade his two best youngest players right now for a 34-year-old KD. I mean, it sucks to say, but the Nets probably do have him in a little bit of a chokehold ever since we saw this Rudy Gobert trade and what they got for Rudy Gobert. And if they're asking for more than what Rudy Gobert went for, I mean, it's really, really hard for you to find a team that's willing to give up their young assets. I mean, even looking at the Boston Celtics, if they were to give up a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum, that hurts them in the long run. You get what I'm saying? Like, because you're still going to have to get, like, that's one team that still needs a bench, and they're not that deep at bench. But if they were to get KD, they're going to be more likely not to be in bench, and everybody's going to be playing 46 minutes. So right now, the best bet is for Kevin Durant to stay unless the Nets are willing to take a Fugazi trade, which they are going to lose if they do trade Kevin Durant.
And is there any talk if they don't trade him? Like, is he going to sit? Like, is he that kind of player? Or is he going to play? Because he doesn't, like, he has the money where, like, he doesn't have to play, right? Like, he's not Ben Simmons where, I heard Ben was just stupid with his money and has more cars than most people have had birthdays. But yeah, it's just wild to think about.
I mean, I don't think he's Ben Simmons though. That's not disrespect, man. He's gonna play some basketball.
Well, you asked a question to a Nets fan, so I want to make sure Saint gets in here because Bankai after Saint.
What does that rebuild?
What's that
look like? Again, is it the All-Stars or is it really, really, really young players under 25 and a lot of picks?
I'm kind of with you. I don't know that you're going to get like the All-Stars, the two All-Stars that they're talking, I don't think that's realistic, right? Like, especially if you're going to assume that Sean Marks is going to send KD where he wants to go. I kind of find that hard to believe that a team would fully do that. But at the same time, I feel like you look at somebody like Rudy Gobert and what he got, and then it's like, I just feel like also too, people are like, let's not pretend, like JF Cake just said, like, let's not disrespect the man. Like, you send him somewhere, and like you yes, he's 34. He's got 4 years left on his contract, but it's not like you're adding some dude that's gonna, like, I mean, he's still out here averaging what, like 30, almost 30 points a game, right? Like, so you're not adding a scrub. I do think there are teams out there that then can, like, you know, I don't want to see him go to the Warriors, but there are teams out there that can trade some a decent amount of young guys and picks and still be a relevant team and not have to gut their team. So it, to me, it all matters is like how willing the Nets, like I heard somebody last night say on a radio thing where it's like, do the Nets have the stone to wait it out? And I think, like, if Kevin Durant is fully gone, the Nets have to wait it out, because I think if you're trying to force a trade now and you make a move, you're not going to get that close enough value that you should be getting for somebody Kevin Durant, even at 34, right? Like, let's not pretend that if you don't put Kevin Durant on your team, like, you are shooting up the line there of playoff contention, right? Like,
Only on certain teams.
Exactly. That's why I just said that. Like, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree with that, but I think that's why you should be patient, because I do think the right deal will eventually present itself, whether that's like a little bit into the season. And quite honestly, me personally, I don't think KD sits. I think KD plays whether it gets worked out or not. I've never seen KD be that kind of guy where he's been that stubborn and like, nah, I'm gonna sit and I'm just gonna sit. I don't think that happens. I think KD is a reasonable enough person that if you're, hey, the trade is what we, I think KD has to know that the Nets are not just going to make a trade and take whatever just because he wants to be traded. As frustrated as I am with the front office, I just don't see that that's a reality. Like,
yeah, the biggest issue is if he sits, it's not necessarily tanking his value, it's tanking Kyrie's value.
That too. Yeah.
And that's the threat, right? Like, the issue isn't, again, with KD. The issue actually is with Kyrie. You solved the Kyrie issue in Brooklyn. You solved the KD issue.
I'm sorry, Chris. And to Kyrie's point, outside of, right, like Scoop is Scoop is close to that Kyrie camp. And the language he's putting out is that, like, yeah, he's open to going to the Western Conference. But outside of accepting his last year deal and saying, hey, I'll see you in October, he hasn't put anything else out there that would leave you to believe that, like, he wouldn't play if the trade doesn't happen, right? Like, so I'm not in that camp that these guys sit. So to me, the best thing is to wait, because I don't think you'll get multiple All-Stars, but I definitely think you could get a series of young guys and picks for Kevin Durant. Like, we cannot sit here and pretend like we're going to take pennies on the dollar for Kevin Durant like some people are hoping, right? Because by and large, the whole NBA is enjoying the destruction of Brooklyn Nets. And some of the fans that are out there of these other teams, like, applauding it, are also putting them out some of the most ridiculous ideas of what they think people are going to get.
Hey, you need to go ahead and take that John Collins deal and send KD to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, some of the stuff that I'm seeing out there is just, it's more emotion based, and you're just happy of the destruction, and you think that's, like, to the point, Lakers fans early, right? Like, some of them, just think we're going to take your Westbrook, we're not going to take a pick, and we're going to throw in either Seth Curry or Joe Harris, and we're going to take all your money and all your problems, but give you Kyrie and another shooter, which ultimately is better, like, just to move up. Like, no, come on, dude.
Is there a limit on how many draft picks a team can trade away? Like, I know the Houston got like up to 8 years of picks, but a few swaps and a few picks. Are we looking at that kind of Harden Hall that the Nets are going to get, or is that just the smartest way to go because of the lack of picks?
There is no limit.
Like teams can't trade away like their 2040 pick, right?
Yeah, like there's a level of absurdity that once it reaches so far out, they don't do it. The issue more so is trading consecutive picks. That's not allowed. The pick swaps is kind of like a workaround around that. First, the draft should be extended. It should be more than 2 rounds. Personally, I think it should be 3. It solves a lot of that problem because it helps create a more stable developmental system for the G League and gives you a better propensity of what an actual draft pick's value is. And then that way the trades would seem more balanced. The issue that we have is one of optics. The Jazz get 4 first-round draft picks for Gobert, and a lot of people think that's an overpay. But when you look at what the draft picks are, like they tend to convert over to be middling draft picks, right? So then it becomes a volume play versus a quality play, and that's what the issue is that people don't understand. Volume
was what the Thunder are doing right now because they have like 100 picks between like 15 and 25.
Volume isn't quality, but volume ends up buying you quality. So, Sam Presti, who's really continuing Sam Hinkie's original design, has now basically bought value in any draft that he wants. And now every other team that has to trade a veteran or is forced to trade or whatever have you want that same type of deal. And now that creates an issue because 3 teams have the bulk of those draft picks, much like, we're really making an analogy here of using draft picks as basically gold in geopolitical economics, right? And it's an unfair economic vehicle that the NBA is working on. And it's just another sign that the players and the owners are more likely to opt out of the current CBA. Because, imagine if LeBron James wanted to wake up and say, trade me away from the Lakers. Yeah, he's 37, but name me 5 players better, right? And so his trade value relative to what his projected value over the course of the franchise is still should be high. But because we have this skewed trade system, it's actually going to end up being deflated. Now, the fan bases of these teams, they just can't understand that, and they go apeshit because they're like, I want value. I want value. Well, there is no longer value. There's quantity, and then you take the quantity, and then you chase the value. That is now the how the NBA economy seems to have worked the last few years, specifically to start at the Supermax contracts, right? At least that's my opinion. I don't think it sounds crazy, Kenny. I think that answers your question.
Thank you very much, guys.
I mean, yeah. Chris, let me ask you a question. Obviously, I'm not saying it's happening, right? But if I'm the Nets and, say, the Pelicans are on the board with Brandon Ingram, whatever, and, see, to me, I look at them. They have a pick that the Lakers pick that's going to be potentially a very good pick. For me, I would more look at, not looking for high level of picks as more of hey, I'm willing to take a couple less picks if I can get my hands on that quality Lakers pick that potentially is going to pay out very beautifully. Me personally would, if I am dealing with a team and they happen to have a pick from another team that is going to pay out nice, would opt for that over quantity, quite honestly. I understand maybe depending on how many picks you're getting, but I think the quality of what that pick could be sometimes, it has to have more value to me than just taking Toronto's next 6 picks, right? I don't know if I'm wrong by that thought.
Well, see, the problem with that is that you're you're reducing your odds, right?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So it can be a really good pick, but if it's a really good pick at 3 in a 2-person draft, how good is it?
Yeah, and then you're right. You do got to factor in the strength of the draft too. How deep is it? How many?
And to be honest, all these people using the Pelicans, it's such a bad example because the issue with that is why? Why would they do that? right? Like if you think about it, they're about to hit the immediate prime of Brandon Ingram. They're about to hit hopefully healthy Zion. Jonas Valanciunas is the best price center in the league, unless Mitchell Robinson passes him this year. And like all you have is depth and you have cap. So like if you were to need to make a move, why would KD be that move now? Right? Like did you not see the improvement just by getting CJ McCollum? Right? Like they've got
Be a
Devontae.
nasty team. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They've got Devontae Graham at 11 million, Larry Nance Jr. at like 9 million. They have Jackson Hayes at 6 million. They could put in Kira Lewis, and all of a sudden they're at 21 million. Guys, they can buy whoever they want come trade deadline.
Jim's good too.
Yeah. So like why that's another thing that fan bases just don't simply factor in. Why would this team even fathom it? And then the more you actually start looking at that, the more you're left saying, oh my God, there's only 5 teams that can make an offer for Kevin Durant. 2 of them don't want to add the people the Nets want. 2 of them don't have the draft pick compensation. 1 of them has at least equal stats and draft picks with a better chance of getting draft picks. It's just they don't like the package, right?
Yeah,
That's what
which
happened.
is another feather in the cap of me personally waiting, quite honestly.
Oh, I agree. Go ahead, Kenny. What you got?
Yes, I just have one last question, and then I'll get off it, and you can make me a listener. This question's for Saint Net. What did you think of the Harden trade when it happened? The return that Houston got, and would you want? I guess I don't know if I ever got the answer. Would you want that kind of deal tomorrow for KD?
I mean, of course you would want as much as we gave up for Harden. Hell yeah. But see, I'm under the minority in Nets fandom. Got a healthy length of streams on Nets Kingdom on YouTube, where when that trade went down, I wasn't happy because this ties into when we were talking earlier about Chris, when we were talking about culture. I was in love with the team that they were building. I was in love with what the Nets were moving towards because I finally felt like, to Iman's point earlier, that you were building this culture. You were getting in line of like when you looked at the Spurs and you looked at some of these teams that like built these teams up and they built something, and then they added the big pieces and they were good teams. So for me, quite honestly, part of me was like, oh, cool, we got Harden, but on the real, I was not I wish we would have kept what we had and let the team see what it would have turned into, and then go tool and bring in more players. But I mean, yeah, who wouldn't want to get the haul that you guys got for for James Harden, right? Like all those picks, and we gave up all our depth. We gave up LeVert, Allen. I mean, obviously, if Dinwiddie was healthy, he probably would have been gone. I mean, you gave up so much. You gutted your team for James Harden, and this has been my other argument the whole time with Nets. Is it's like, yo, you have this 3 superstar team, and you have 0 depth, and you have a highly inexperienced coach, and then you've seen the drama that has happened to the Nets. You get exposed, and it doesn't matter at that point. It doesn't matter if you have a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie on your team, right? Like when you're in the finals and when you're in the playoffs against the Celtics and you got Patty Mills guarding Jason Tatum in the 4th quarter, there's something wrong. Like there's something wrong with your team. So for me, wish we would never did that trade. But yes, of course, I would love a massive return for KD. But to the point, we're not getting that right now. So you stand pat. Sean Marks needs to have some common sense and some stones and say, listen, if you guys still really want out of here and you're not willing to try to run it back, we're not budging until we get what we feel is a fair value for you. Because I think everybody's trying to cheapskate the Nets right now on Kyrie and KD because their value is low to some degree. You wait.
Real quick, 7 years. It's 7 years, by the way, in both rounds. 7 years out that they can trade draft picks. JF, you got like 10 seconds. I need to get Saul here, and then I want to set up Dime Dropper and get Nick in. I'm going to extend it about 5 to 10 minutes. Go ahead, JF.
Yeah, it's just a quick question. Do you think that they need to add Ben Simmons and a third team in order for this trade to pop off? Because it looks like that. No?
No.
Damn. I thought that would have helped a third team come into the trade, and then everybody gets what they want. But
Unless
that's
they're going to be
that's funny, Ben
wild.
Simmons.
Unless they're going to be wild, Brooklyn is pot committed to Ben Simmons.
You said they're not committed to Ben
No,
Simmons, or they are?
pot commit.
Oh, hot commit. Okay, got you.
POT.
Okay,
Pot commit. It's a poker term.
I thought, and that's why I thought the Nets were on the other end, where it's like, since they really haven't seen him play, they're kind of on like the fence about him. But if they're a hot commit, then fine, we leave that
Pot.
be. But I always thought he'd be
Not hot. Can you hear the P?
pot. Yes, pot.
Pot
There
commit.
we go, pot.
Yes. It's a betting strategy in poker.
Where you raise the pot and then nothing happens.
TJ, well, you don't play, do you?
A little bit.
All right. So, how you doing?
How you doing, Chris? I'm doing good. Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. I think I'm a lot with the Saints. I think he's got his spot on with the Kevin Durant situation. I think either way, a player of that caliber, wherever you trade him, the team that gets him wins, even if it's a short term like a Kawhi going to Toronto. I mean, we all saw San Antonio played hardball and ended up getting DeRozan, and eventually it didn't work out, and now they're pretty much tanking again. So I would, hold on to Kevin Durant as much as I can. If it takes a year or two, there's no way a player of his level is going to sit out. And, I think for me, try and get as much assets you can in the meantime. If you can get a player of a Donovan Mitchell caliber, or, as much as I hate to say it, a young star like a Tyrese Maxey, which hopefully that will never happen. You go for it, absolutely. But if you're not getting that, then why should you settle for a Russell Westbrook, an expiring contract? The thing that bothers me the most is the fact that Kevin Durant was out for a whole year and they still signed him and paid him for a whole year. I mean, this organization went up and down. They've done everything a organization should do for a player of his caliber, and they've done more. So I feel like to work with him on where to go, I think that's complete nonsense. A player like that, you should definitely get the best deal out and think about your organization. And who cares if Kevin Durant ends up in Utah or Toronto? It doesn't really matter what he wants at this point. And I think it should send a message to other organizations and other teams that if your superstar wants to trade and there's nothing they can really do as long as they're tied down to a contract. I mean, if I'm not wrong, he's got 4 years left on his contract. I mean, that's a long time. That's a long time for you to just give in. As for Kyrie going to the Lakers, I think that's the complete wrong move. I understand that LeBron and Kyrie, we all loved what they did in Cleveland, but I don't think that's the answer for the Lakers. I think defense is the biggest thing for the Lakers, and I feel like even if you have to play next season with LeBron, Westbrook, and AD, as bad as it is, Westbrook is off the books the year after that, and you can use that cap space and actually get 3-and-D players, wings that can defend and a point guard. I feel like that's the best route, because if you go get a Kyrie, as good as you are offensively, as good as you are good offensively, I think people forget about the Kevin Love factor. Kevin Love was not AD. I mean, Anthony Davis is a player that's going to expect to play a lot of minutes and he's going to try and average a lot of points. Hopefully he'll get back to himself. That's not a Kevin Love who takes a Chris Bosh who takes a back seat. That's someone who's very much involved in the offense in every play. So I don't think that dynamic of Kyrie, LeBron, and AD works anyway. And if you do that, then you're expected to sign Kyrie for the next 2 to 3 years. You can't just let a Kyrie Irving walk away for free. So I feel like, because I'm such a big LeBron fan, for the last few years of his career, I feel like the best thing to do is to surround him with athleticism. And I feel like we've seen him and AD work perfectly when they had a deep roster and they went to the finals and they won. I don't care whether if it was in a bubble or not. They've done it, and that team was absolutely dominant. So I feel like stick with AD and LeBron. Play out whatever you got with Westbrook one more season, and hope that LeBron resigns, which I don't think there's a reason for him not to do that. And come back with a much better depth and better defensive team. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much, Chris.
No problem, Saul. I think that's great points about the Los Angeles Lakers. And to that point, Mike from OC is here. What's up,
What's
Mike?
up, guys? Well, it's not an off season if it's not Lakers talk, right? Let's
Well,
face it.
we started out with W and some other stuff, and then Sean Marks, man, let me tell you, that dude is on it, signing Edmund Sumner and TJ Warren today.
Yeah. You know what? Listen, all this stuff, it's there's so many angles to this. And I know the Lakers organization really 50 years. I mean, I've been watching the Lakers play. So I've seen every great player, every bad player, every great coach, every bad, everything. And let me tell you about Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss was embarrassed last year. Absolutely embarrassed. I was embarrassed. The Lakers nation was embarrassed. It was the worst year ever for me because of the expectations. So she needs to do whatever it takes. But the problem is she's not going to let one guy, even how great he is, named LeBron James, hold her hostage and make decisions anymore. This is about the health of the Lakers, the future of the Lakers. Listen, she knows she has to make some sort of move. Now, if she makes a move for Kyrie, she can't give up the farm. She doesn't want to give up 2 picks, 2 players, whatever else you got to do there to get this guy. Because you really, at the end of the day, we're not sure what we're getting here. The track record hasn't been great. Credible talent, don't get me wrong. We just don't know what we're getting with him sometimes. And if she has to make this move to keep LeBron, if we don't make it, LeBron only has 1 year left and he leaves, so be it. I mean, she's going to have to do what's best. How many more years is he going to play anyhow at this point? She has to think about the long-term health as well. It's a tough situation she's in, but she's not going to, capitulate to LeBron James. It's just not the fact. He's part of the Lakers. He's not even, let me tell you, great player. He got us a title. Fantastic. We appreciate it. We'll see what happens. His jersey's not going up at Staples Center at this point. I'll tell you right now. The jersey is not going up there because he's not a Lakers great. There's a difference. Just hasn't been here long enough. Hasn't done enough here. Can't go up there with James and Kareem and Magic and everybody. Just can't. It's just not the way we run things here. So Jean's got to make this final call. LeBron likes it, doesn't like it, whatever he wants to do. But she's not going to give up a ton of stuff for Kyrie Irving. She'll move to plan B because Russ is probably going to leave. She wants to get rid of Russ. Sadly, I like Russ, but he's going to have to leave. It worked out bad last year. So she have to move to plan B. Maybe Indiana, Orlando, whatever it's going to be. But she's not going to just give up the farm for Kyrie Irving. I just don't see it.
I agree. I thought, if anything, it would be a 3-team deal because I don't think Brooklyn would want to trade Joe. And Brooklyn doesn't want Westbrook. And I think she's understanding the position. And I think she's telling LeBron, cryptically, hey, your best chance is here anyway. And we don't think this is the best deal for your best chance. That's what I got from it.
Oh yeah, it was an interesting message, and people were dissecting that thing the other night. And I'm sure it was that because at the end of the day, she's here for life, and he's going to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she's got to do what's best for the organization.
I want to get Dime Dropper in here and Nick in here. I want to give a shout out to Saint from Nets Kingdom and Nets Kingdom AJ, who's also up here. Thank you for coming in and talking Nets. You didn't dodge the smoke. You had to work. I totally get it. Make sure you shoot both of them a follow. You can check them out on YouTube and also here on Nets Twitter with Brandon. Maliika will stop by. Jay from BK. Although I will give you a fair warning, it's hard to tell whether what Brandon is speaking about the Nets or the Mets. I don't understand it. It's interchangeable, and I think he should get help. Shout out to Brandon, though. Real talk. Dime Dropper, a Clippers fan and somebody going through the history of the league. This has to be, in my eyes, the perfect time for you to live in your era of the NBA. You are coming in with the greats of our era, and I'm speaking me, plus the emergence of a whole bunch of new, young, talented players who are ready to take their ascension to the thrones of the hierarchy of the NBA seriously. When we look at Brooklyn and the Lakers, what do you think as somebody who understands hey, my Clippers have the same type of window We need them to come back healthy and get in gear because you're only looking at 2 or 3 years.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. Well, this whole Lakers Nets thing is so complex, and honestly, I'm just waiting to see what happens. I think Kyrie to the Lakers is pretty inevitable at this point. The KD one, I'm not even going to start with the guessing where he's going to go. I really don't know. I would love to see Toronto. I would really love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I doubt it happens, but that would be really cool. But if I had to have it my way, I wish the Nets could just stay together and they would run it with Simmons, Kyrie, and KD. That was my hope. I wanted to see it, but it is what it is. I wanted to say too, though, congratulations on your Hoop Spaces anniversary. This is also an anniversary of another kind for us Clipper fans. A day that I will never forget. 3 years ago, when Woj ended the silence that was the second most anticipated free agent signing in the history of basketball after LeBron's 2011 decision, and that was when Kawhi took the leap of, I don't want to say the leap of faith because he still came with Paul George, but to go to the Clippers, probably the worst option of the three in terms of winning, instead of the great organization and the team that Toronto had around him, and of course the easy way out, which would have been the Lakers stacking the deck. I can't believe he did it still to this day. I think it's going to change the history of the course of our franchise because no big time free agent has ever done something like that. Choosing the little brother, the one that he knows he's going to get booed at Dodger games, he's going to get booed at Rams games. He walks around the street going to get those weird looks. That's how you are when you wear a Clipper shirt in Los Angeles. You get those weird looks. You go to school, you get made fun of. That's how it goes. That's what people don't understand that live in other cities. But he took it and he got made fun of worse than anybody. Him and Paul after that bubble collapse. But I really appreciate him for coming here and doing the road. Not even want to say the road less traveled by, the road never traveled by. And, even though we still haven't won a championship and it would be a kind of a bust if we don't win a championship, I don't consider it a bust because we still made it further than we've ever gone already. And as I said, him choosing us over the Lakers could give, other superstars in the future a chance to say, look, if you don't like what the Lakers got going on, there's another organization that has a good owner now and not a racist slumlord. And, there's an option here. And I thank him forever for that, no matter what. And Paul for pushing the trade, even though it was kind of messed up to Russell Westbrook at the time. But I'm excited for this season. Here's the thing. No matter what Brooklyn does or the Lakers do, if I think my team can really win a championship, which I never have until this year, that means we're not afraid of anybody. So you can go get Michael Jordan out of his prime and put him in a time machine. I don't care. We're ready. We're going to be ready this season, and I'm excited for it. Go Clippers.
I love the energy. 808 said he had something urgent to come up here and report. 808, what you got?
Yes, Chris. My question to you: is your lunch today the veggie sandwiches from Jimmy John's? Eventually you'll take your dad out to lunch.
Really, that's what we're doing here. That's what we're.
That's a serious question.
I accidentally hit the wrong button too.
At least Chris has a lunch. Satan is supposed to actually be working, but
I'm on a day off.
For some reason, he never works anymore.
Hey, Brandon, Chris is not up here making fun of me. So
yeah. See, the thing is, Chris is just jealous because the Mets are actually the best team in baseball, and it hurts when you're not a Mets fan because it hurts knowing that a team from Queens is the best team in baseball. Especially we got our two stars coming back to pitch for us. Mad Max is pitching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go Mets.
This is what you're doing. You are coming up here on a basketball show talking Mets baseball.
I've been trying to
Chris,
tell him, Chris.
I heard that you were talking crap about the Mets.
I didn't talk anything about anything. I simply weren't the best team in baseball, and that you kind of switching Mets and Nets interchangeably.
I told Chris. I told him he was making fun of you, Brandon. So
no, he was making fun of the Mets.
I was making fun of the Mets, not Brandon. I actually respect his fandom.
Oh, you're giving him too much power now, Chris.
What are you talking about? He's a Mets fan. The power is limited to the amount of money Bobby Bonilla gets for the rest of his life.
Listen, Steve Cohen wipes his ass with money. You think he cares?
Yes, I do.
No.
Nick, come save us from the Mets talk before Brandon hops back into the Nets. Madhouse is also in the building.
Yo, did you really
Clippers
kick
and
me?
Mets fans out. There's a lot of second teamers out here rooting hard for the little brothers. I respect that, man.
What do you mean? The Yankees are the little
Damn right.
brothers to us. What are you talking about?
Oh, see here,
Yeah.
we're devolving.
But so let's talk about Major League Sports. So the NBA, one of the teams that I'd like to hear people talk about, and I've kind of been throwing this around, like there's no rumors. I heard obvious. This is rampant, reckless, inappropriate speculation. But if you're Mark Cuban and you're looking at Kevin Durant potentially up for grabs, and you're looking at your roster with Spencer Dinwiddie, and you're looking at that roster, like, would you think about selling out your next 6 or 7 draft picks available to pair him with Luka, let him play off the ball, hit open shots all game, and just like run it out? Like, I don't know. I'm like, there's a lot of sexier teams people are talking about, and whether it's the Lakers or the Clippers, and then there's like the basketball nerds that want to see him, playing in Toronto with Masai, which Masai is still the GM the Knicks should have hired 3 years ago. So I'm with it, but like, should Mark Cuban be thinking about selling out and just be like, okay, we're going to try to win a title in the next 2 to 3 years of Luka's like free and early prime, and then figure out the rest after?
See, you're just coming up here with all this unscrupulousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said my argument is for Philadelphia because they have the most consistent trade package. But this idea with Dallas is I think absolutely a must-see event. Like, if I am Cuban and I am going to Nico, like, how can we make this happen? I don't care the cost, because it would be arguably the most entertaining offensive basketball that you would have the chance to build around for the next 3 years, right? Like, just imagine having the most ball-dominant usage player playing with arguably the most accomplished off-ball player ever in the modern NBA, right? Like, that's scary. I like that, Nick.
And then after a title or two, then guys start signing up to come. You don't have to worry as much about the draft picks. Guys start signing up to come play with Luka, assuming he doesn't dash for another city. Like, I don't know. It just feels like I would be at least exploring all the options. Like, if you're going to take just a bevy of draft picks, like, take ours. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just looking at like the Lakers 2032 pick plus the rights to Bronny, you know what I mean? Like, if you're looking at like, Toronto, the backup Space Needle, like 4 picks in OG Anunoby, like, I don't know. Like, I would, and plus he's going back to Texas. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like, there's a little bit of, I don't know, just feels like something I would like to personally see. Plus, I think the brand of basketball would be incredible.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm with you. That's one reason why I said, I wouldn't mind seeing KD in Atlanta, right? If you're going to just take a whole bunch of picks, well, let me give you a 23-year-old player who can give you 20 and 10. If you give him the ball in John Collins, let me give you DeAndre Hunter, who coming off an injury, still a young player who showed promise. Let me give you Jalen Johnson. Let me give you multiple firsts, right? KP, we're going to close with you. We're going to head out after this because I'm already 18 minutes over. KP, what you got?
I appreciate that. I'm sorry. I'm going to be very quick. I just want to say, hey to Knicks fans. How y'all doing over there? Hope y'all don't get fined. Hey, Nets fans. Is the plumbing still working in the Barclays, Chris? Do you know? Because I'm about to tear it down. Because after all of this, if Kyrie and KD and whatever happened to LaMarcus Aldridge, y'all got that dude from a heart attack. Y'all made him got out of the hospital to play, and now he's nowhere to be found. What are y'all doing over there in the Barclays other than getting haircuts and going to the 40-40? What is going on in the world? But as the executive hater of Spaces and Twitter and all the good stuff, I've been going strong for 11 months, Chris. I've been right on everything. People don't want to give me my flowers, so I'm going to take them. I am also known as Derail Revis, so I'm about to derail the conversation. Hey, Marvel fans, try to get y'all to watch Miss Marvel. Y'all don't want to listen. It's a good show. Thursday night, I'm going to go see this Thor Love and Thunder. If this movie is mid, I'm about to put a foot in the MCU's butt, and it ain't coming out. Y'all been dropping a lot of mid, a lot of nastiness, a lot of meh, a lot of meh, a lot of it's all right. I mean, it's okay. You got to pump yourself up to go see it. If this movie is mid, if it's not as good, if it's as good as that Doctor Strange, I'm about to go find Kevin Feige and say, dog, go do some Star Trek. Go to Star Wars. It's better over there. Cause I got my knife sharpened. I'm about to cut the cord. And I hope everyone has a blessed and lovely day. It feels good to be a champion, Chris. It's like, that finals MVP, it feels good. It's like a lotion. It feels good in a hot day.
Hey, you said the plumbing in Barclays is bad right now, KP?
I'm asking. I'm just asking because it's a shit show, so the plumbing might be bad too.
Hey, man, we can call a plumber. Last name Reddick. I know a good one.
My favorite hater right there.
You have basketball tonight. The WNBA, Seattle at Indiana. The Storm take on the Fever, 7 p.m. 8 p.m. The Connecticut Sun face the Dallas Wings. That'll be on Facebook. And I tell you what, I don't know if the Connecticut Sun is ever going to outrun that they are the Utah Jazz of the WNBA, but they do have a couple of players that you definitely need to see in person. So if you are in one of the cities that they do come through, hop in your car, drive down, and support the W. I won't be able to do it tonight. I actually plan on being at the next Fever home game myself personally. That's what they need. They need us to be able to go there and put butts in seats. Summer League action as well, ladies and gentlemen. We got off the California Classic today, starting at 3 p.m. Golden State takes on Miami. That's on ESPN3. Sacramento takes on Los Angeles at 5:30. That is on ESPN3. But ladies and gentlemen, basketball returns to prime time tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies take on the Philadelphia 76ers, 7 p.m. prime time, ESPN. My eyes will be on that, as well as the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Utah Jazz at 9 p.m. No, Donovan Mitchell will not be in attendance. I'm pretty sure he is going to be far away. Nick, you got anything you want to add in here?
No, man. Love that you're repping the Summer League. And I'm personally, as a Knicks fan, just excited that people are hating on us again. For a while, like, people didn't really talk about us at all.
All right. It feels good. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Shout out to every single one of y'all who made the show today. If you do want to come in and come up on stage, get here earlier. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. The best basketball show that you ever did here on Twitter Spaces. I was told to say that. I don't know why. Peace out.